senses overload. Wildin' cause I broke the mold. Really in this business of investing where I win the most. Cruising when it's 2 a.m. Bodies hanging at the benches. Drive me to the nearest liquor store to celebrate again. Oh, it's all mine, mine, and good is mine. It's all mine, mine, and good is mine.
Hold up, wait a minute, stop. I don't even need you anymore, I'm on the top. I've been on a roll, you've been on a drop. I can't give you lessons and this shit is hard rock. This ain't new to me. She just sent 140 notes to me. Dripping YSL, these bitches using me. I can't give a damn cause I've been through the rain.
I seen you put the lipstick in the Prada. You moving on the floor. Nice, young, and the vibe is electric. The bankroll at my door.
I feel my senses overload. Wildin' cause I broke the mold. Really in this business of investing where I win the most. Cruising when it's 2 a.m. Bodies hanging at the benches. Drive me to the nearest liquor store to celebrate again. Oh, it's so
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Playdate number 3 of Xenon Gaming Series Season 4, brought to you by Campfire Esports. We have a fantastic match set up here for you tonight between the Hong Kong Rebels and Team MystiC main roster. My name is Crisis, and I am joined by the ever so lovely Phoenix Blaze, aka Nyx. We will be bringing you the action tonight. Let's talk a little bit, though, about the matches that we have coming up here tonight.
Yes, so Hong Kong Rebels going up against the main squad of Team MystiC. Super excited about what we're going to be watching tonight, as we've been kind of missing that main squad from the side of MystiC for quite a while. They did go a little dormant, and the Academy team has really truly been taking the spotlight lately. But I do feel like Candle and crew are ready to come back and really show us what they are made of, and they're not to be underestimated. But on the side of HK Rebels, remember, it's Turkey's team. Burnt Turkey always brings a great match to the table.
Say that Candle is ready to shine a light on his team.
I had to.
Well, speaking of this match, it will be a best of 3, and we're going to go right into the map bans here, figure out exactly where we will be playing tonight. The first match will be starting on Oregon, Snorrigan, Borrigan, whatever you would like to call it. Then we'll be going to Bank, and if we have to, our map 3 decider will be Cafe. Now, Blaze, these are minus Bank, which has kind of seen a little bit of an increase in popularity here, but Oregon and Cafe, 2 real staples in the competitive scene.
Very true, and very safe maps to pick as well. Most teams who do opt to go to Oregon first like to play a little bit more of a safe game, try to keep those mentals in check and have everything go perfect to plan. But remember, we do also have that second map of Bank to come into play. That's where things get shaken up just a little bit. So it really, between these two maps, it's going to depend on which team really brings it home on Oregon first, if we're going to possibly see a landslide, or if it's going to be a back and forth like we've been seeing so far this season when it comes to those safety maps.
And if any of you were around to watch the matches last night, we had games on Clubhouse and Villa, and we kind of talked about how those maps are really proving grounds. If you want to know how good your team is, you go to a map like Clubhouse, you go to a map like Villa. Oregon, very similar. If you want to prove how good your team is, Oregon is a staple map. Like you said, Bank, a little bit more of a niche pick. And we saw a niche pick come out last night with Theme Park, where the team who picked Theme Park actually ran away with it. Now this Bank will be Team MystiC's pick, excuse me. So we'll have to see if they have some tricky plays up their sleeves. But with that being said, we have an entire match of Oregon to play before we get to Bank. And we should be getting ready to hop right into it here any moment.
Yeah, it's going to really come down to who's going to have the best setups as far as the default things that are played on these maps. Oregon is one of those really big maps where you just kind of, there's really no, how do you say this, tried or true way to make it unique. Everything has been done, it's been seen before, it's been stratted before, counter-stratted, you name it. It just really is going to come down to who can do those strategies better. But we are moving immediately here into the bans. MystiC is going to be starting this off first. We're probably going to see some very typical bans here. A Nook, which is becoming more common in the competitive scene as far as bans go, because you don't want any cheeky little side flanks or have any intel stolen from you with obviously the sneakiness of that Nook. But the Ying, there will be no Candelas to be seen, especially on those basement sites. It's absolutely terrifying to deal with those Candelas.
Yeah, no Ying on site here tonight. Azami going to be banned out as well. And we've been talking about how just not overpowered, but how overused Azami has been since she has kind of come in to the game and since she's kind of come out of that quarantine period that she did have to sit in for a little bit. A Kaed ban here coming out. not really that shocking. There's a lot of hatches on Oregon and a lot of just sneaky places to put those electro claws. But back to Azami for a second here. Really, when we talk about site setup, we talk about shotguns or explosives blowing open the walls. We had someone like Mira, of course, who was able to kind of change the way that sites were set up. Azami, though, is really the only operator in the game who truly can change sites by building, by placing multiple objects around the map. And she really has become a staple. So we'll see her get banned out. No real surprise. Super fast operator. Great gun with that 9mm SMG. The Kiva barrier is going to be absolutely destructive if needed. But that does mean, though, that Aggro will be able to play that Mira, an operator who has really kind of been bounced back and forth with her game.
Yeah, and I've got to put a little emphasis on that Kaid ban, though, because of the fact that Bandit is still on the board. So if teams do opt to bring that Bandit, he does have that new ability to be able to stack those Bandit batteries up on the wall, which makes him a little bit more viable. However, I still think personally Kaid is a much more well-rounded operator, but I mean, who am I to say? We have to see what the meta is going to say eventually with all these new changes. But we are going to go ahead and start round number 1 all the way downstairs. We are in the basement. We are where what I like to call the proving grounds of Oregon. This is where, if you don't know how to play anything on Oregon, this is where you start, because this is the most pain in the butt site to have to worry about, because it is so vast, it is so wide, there's so many cheeky corners, and if you've been to the Charlotte Major or got to watch it, we all know about that beautiful, iconic little sneaky maneuver.
The basement's one of the few sites on this map that you don't really have to worry about a ton of vertical play to deal with, and by vertical play I mean specifically the breaching of the ceilings above you. There will be a little bit of hatches that could get opened up and direct line of sight onto the site, so you're a little bit safer to kind of anchor down. Now, as soon as I said that, of course, Rai is going to be doing a little bit of vertical play here, but that's just a look into the kitchen area to make sure that there's not any sneaky roamers coming around. And you can see Aggro, living up to his name here, going to be holding a very tight angle onto these basement main stairs, and with that sledge, could see him try to open up above the main stairs as well and get that long angle. But for now, going to be droning out attic and making sure that there's no one there.
Now, Ozone also looking to get a little bit active here on these back stairs. He's waiting for the best information from his team. It looks like he was potentially going to go after that sledge, but that sledge wasn't quite in a position and went where he would be the best person to get. But we do also have to give credit to this sledge, being as patient as he is, opening up these angles, holding these long angles in hopes of getting an early kill off the board. But a minute 18, we have not seen any damage hit the board whatsoever here. It's going to come down to possibly these last little moments in this last minute of time that we're going to have in order to see things really light up. Moses does take some damage, but really no bodies or any indication who's going to go down first.
Speaking of patience, we've seen here Candle holding up here in T3 pretty much the entire round. Now he's got 3 people, guns at him, and he will be the first one to fall. An unfortunate situation for him, but wasted a ton of time, as now they've only got 45 seconds here to get this push done, and there will be a lot of guns pointing in the direction. Moses, though, he's going to go down, as well as Aggro Millie. He's going to be taking care of lots of players with that AR in hand. Sophia's AR got a little bit of a buff, not able to shoot out that Banshee, so they're just going to be able to use the Lifeline launcher to take care of it instead. Now they're closing out 20 seconds. Millie's is going to fall.
Yeah, and 20 seconds isn't quite a lot of time to do much, because remember, Hong Kong Rebels does have something to go up against, but that is time. They have to either commit to a plant or they're going to have to take out people early. But unfortunately for them, MystiC is going to be able to get to that last kill without Hong Kong Rebels really even knowing where those shots came from.
Back and forth into his final couple of seconds, and that's kind of what we see a lot at this skill level, right? Either teams are pushing the site super early, or they're waiting till the last 30 to 40 seconds to kind of push site. Shades of 2018 Vitality, who really kind of mastered that 20-second meta. There would be 10 people alive, and all of a sudden everybody would be dead. And sometimes Vitality would win, and sometimes they wouldn't. But Hong Kong Rebels, they had every advantage going into that. They had the man count, they had what they needed. They just could not get it done. So Team MystiC They're going to be able to take their first round here. Now they're going to be moving upstairs to the bunks area. And, you know, you talked about it, Blaze, that basement, if you don't know how to defend anything on Oregon, you go to basement because that is the easiest to defend. Bunk, pretty similar. You've defended the hell out of it if you've played this map in ranked or in scrims or in competitive at all. So this is another comfortable site for a lot of teams.
Yes, and there's really not too many pathways that can make this particular site unusual or something that you're not quite expecting. So typically most teams, we are going to see them potentially push that balcony as well as the master bedroom. Other teams opt for that double window overlooking the roof. It just really all depends on what that team is feeling like doing. Now, if you want to get a little squirrely, there is the potential of pushing the double wall into attic. Now, that takes a lot of coordination, and it is going to take some operators that we don't have on the board. Obviously, a Maverick is probably a very smart pick there for that, but we don't have anybody other than, honestly, I don't even think we have a full hard breach here on the board. All we have is Rai running the sledge. So it looks like it's going to be more than likely a probably more default kind of situation where they're going to be pushing that double window on that bunk side of things, as well as pushing up from the bottom. As you can see, Rai is going to be kind of hanging out here in the bathrooms. He's going to be waiting for some intel to let him know when things need to be pushed in. But the one thing that I am a little bit hesitant about calling too soon is it does look like Hong Kong's playing a little bit too spread out here. And that could be a reason why they're having to go push to those last critical seconds into the round.
Attackers have located a bomb.
It very well could be, and as you mentioned it, there are 0 hard breachers here, so the Rebels going to be kind of limited to what they can do here. Is Doug, he's going to be sending that Yana clone up through and trying to take care of something. Here comes a swing, and that's going to be aggro. He will be dropping down Doug. It's going to be your Yana off the board, frags and a good gun, that hologram as well. He's going to be looking for another one on the millies. Will he be able to get it? He does. The Doc going to be able to get it done. MP5 in hand, going to stim himself back up. Doc recently with that new patch, the new update, able to heal anybody up to 200% now. He's going to have another gunfight on his hands, it looks like. Here is Burnt Turkey. He's going to swap to that SMG-12, but there are 2 members of the Rebels inside that server room waiting for him if he tries to push into that door.
That could be a recipe for disaster right there, and that is not an encounter I ever want to get in, that's for sure. But Turkey playing this very smart, playing it a little bit slower, knowing that there is a potential that he may not be able to win this fight. So taking the opportunity to rotate was a great idea, but unfortunately his completely dashed, and it's the first flawless round that we have of the night going in the favor of Team MystiC. That is 2 rounds on the board, moving into round 3.
Yeah, great plays there coming out. Some individual effort from Aggro, and again, kind of living up to his name of being able to just hold down those angles. Doc changed up that, you know, the little bit of an update. Also, there was the Rook update as well, where the armor will now allow you to have the old withstand ability that Sophia had. Yes, the one that was super controversial, we've now given to an operator as a side ability to his gadget. So we'll have to see if Rook comes into play at all here tonight, as, you know, he would love to join his fellow GIGN defender of Doc, but for right now, the Bash brothers are not going to be playing together. We are going to be moving down here to this middle floor, though, and this is the one that always gets a little bit decisive, Blaze, where it's like, do you go to the split site or do you go to the dining site, where it's a little bit more linear and you don't have to worry about holding out as much? They're going to go for the split site here of Church and Kitchen, and again, it all really comes down to preference here, because both of these sites, they're the tertiary site. They're not really the sites that you're looking to defend as well as both basement and top floor.
Yeah, and if you look at the way that most teams choose to play, especially the split site that we're seeing right here, a lot of teams tend to forego really protecting kitchen and focusing more on that meeting, because you do have that triple wall in meeting that tends to get hit pretty frequently. Now with the kitchen situation, as long as you plop one person in there and just kind of let them hang out, I would say in this case I would put the Doc actually in kitchen, because he can do the overstim situation, so he can really hold his own in that kind of environment. I think it would be a great idea, because then you could just hard focus on that bigger area in the meeting section of this, these sites. But it just really all depends on the mentalities and how these players want to play. We're already seeing aggro just on this dock, like just really bringing out this absolutely insane flank capabilities. He can just run in there, get a couple kills, get some damage on the board, and then just stim himself and come immediately back. But it's just one of those things you have to really pick and choose how you're going to play an operator like Doc with its changes. Are you going to play it more passive, play for the life, or are you going to play for the kills? And it looks like he should have played for the life in this situation.
Candle, though, he will be getting the opening pick onto Rai. However, aggro traded right back out as the kit's down now to a 4-4 man count. Turkey, he's just sitting there holding that angle, hoping somebody comes running down by the white stairs. Is that MK14 EBR going to be doing a ton of damage to anyone who comes running across? Ozone spraying up through that soft floor, and this is kind of what you were talking about. They don't really anchor on this kitchen site. They kind of lurk more around it. That's how most teams tend to be playing this. Cryptics as well as going to be playing there in the server room. Got that SAS shotgun, you know, the one that the more you believe in that shotgun, Blaze, the more power, the more damage it does. It's essentially an anime weapon. So in the hands of someone like Cryptics, who already has 5 kills, by the way, through 2 rounds, he's looking to do a ton of damage with it should anyone cross his path.
Oh, I absolutely love shotguns. We've been seeing so many more shotguns in play than we normally do. Usually teams kind of opt to maybe bring one, but we've seen teams bring multiple at this point, and it's absolutely deadly when you play them correctly. But we are down to 34 seconds here. It's going to come down to, once again, figuring out who's going to commit to these kills, because I don't believe a plant's going to go down. We are going to see Burnt Turkey take down Cryptics. Burnt Turkey's ready for an additional kill, but Candle is going to come in and take down Millis as a plant attempt is attempted to go down, but Vipoa is going to take down Ozone, so things are heating up. Vipoa is wanting to get this plant down, but it's all going to depend on if he's going to stick and live on this F key. And it does look we are going to have a successful plant here, but are we going to see Moses and Candle retake these sites? Because remember, it is a 3v2 situation here. Man advantage is on the side of Hong Kong Rebels, and it just looks like, honestly, Burnt Turkey and Squad just have the better angles at this point, because now we're down to that 3v1. Candle is ready to go ahead and get a little bit active here, but he does not have any great angles to deal with, because the moment he tries to touch that diffuser, Vipo is going to go ahead and take him out and give the first round over to Hong Kong Rebels.
Fell upon his own sword there. We saw the footholds being made in that wall into the scene, and it really did limit the ability for Candle to push in. Wouldn't have really mattered, though, as someone was sitting behind the pew waiting for him the second he crossed in. So even if he would have been able to get that kill, the second he moved across the stage, the player that would have been playing on those rear stairs would have been able to shoot right through those footholds. So an unfortunate situation for him that he found himself in. Again, it was a 3v1. Candle's a great player, but, you know, the Hong Kong Rebels, 3 really good players on their side as well. So, but again, that was a tertiary site. That's not the site that you're actually looking to win. Of course, you're never looking to lose a site, but if you're going to give up a site, the 3rd site in your rotation, not the worst one to give up here. As now Team MystiC, they will be going back down here to the basement site, but they did find success in round number 1, albeit an interesting way that they won the site, because it was a little bit of a throw coming out there from the Rebels, but a win is a win.
Yeah, and honestly, I feel like the Rebels could potentially benefit from attempting a rush. I know a lot of times we do see the, let's come out, we know right off the get-go it's going to be a rush, but it's one of those things where I feel like a successful setup for a rush would do wonders here. Kind of build that aggression in the beginning. Take it home to MystiC. Take over that, the site, and just do what you need to do. Because when you're playing it too slow, you get frantic in the end. Once you hit that 1 minute or less mark, you start getting in your head because you're like, oh god, oh god, oh god, I gotta get in there. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. And you don't have time to slow down and think and listen to your people. But I do like that Millis did bring out the Amaru, but Yamaru just kind of swung in there to nothing, and it looks like the most activity we're about to see here are on these back stairs.
Not necessarily swung into nothing, as there are 2 members of MystiC sitting on these stairs waiting, and who else but Cryptics with that shotgun. Here comes the Nitro. Will he be able to get it? No, does not land. actually going to be doing a ton of damage to himself that may have gotten caught on the lip there. You can see those little pieces of sheet metal just sticking up over the actual wall, and it could have been absolutely devastating. The one time they don't have the dock to get the heal back up onto Cryptix, he's now going to have to be a little bit more careful throughout the rest of this round. You can hear those Habana pellets going and opening up these hatches now, doing some serious work to try to get these line of sights changed up. No Ying again, so pushing through elbow is going to be a little bit more difficult. So we're going to see more of a standard horizontal push here as Doug going to try to go down the freezer stairs, but then come back up and peek the hatch, make sure nobody's rotating through.
Oh, that was unfortunate. I don't know if you actually saw this, Crisis, but that freezer was practically open for the taking. And that's because Ozone had his back straight to the most important part of that freezer take, that triple wall. He had his back completely exposed, and one great swing, depending obviously with his positioning, could have taken out Ozone, and that could have been free like candy on Halloween. I'm telling you, that was an unfortunate situation that Doug just did not have the information for. But he is going to go ahead and rotate back with his team. It looks like we're going to see the typical E-box drop here. I don't believe they have any flashes left here on the board, so that's going to be very difficult with no flashes and no smokes. Moses, luckily, is going to be able to get Doug off the board, and then backs and forths are going to happen as we're going to see this essentially close out here in the next 20 seconds. Millet's going to town, getting a double kill, but being taken out by Ozone. It is a 2v1 situation. Ozone has to light up the board here as Vipo is going to go ahead and start committing to another plant. Now, committing to this plant does give 40 seconds additional on the board, which is great for Ozone, because Ozone's going to be able to clutch this win and get this diffuser off the board.
Zone with a 3K clutch there as MystiC are going to take their third round. So 3 kills for the third round win there coming out from Ozone. Fantastic plays there from the Jaeger. Who says that Jaeger still can't be one of the best fragging operators in the game? Has Gunna seen a lot of changes for the last couple of years. He's also packed on a few pounds, and he's not as fast as he used to be. You know, his eyesight's not as good. He doesn't have the zoomy sight anymore, but all in all, Jaeger still to this day a launch day operator, still incredibly strong in pretty much every defensive lineup there. So great play coming out from Ozone. Again, the 3K to get them that win. We'll be going back upstairs now, and we're going to see Candle bringing out the Warden. Now, this is a little bit interesting. We're also going to see Aggro bringing out the Rook here. So this is what we talked about earlier, the Rook having that change. But Warden, normally you would be bringing if, you know, Glaz or a lot of smokes were coming out. But obviously, of course, the Ying and potentially a Blitz as well. Ying's off the board, though, Blaze. And they haven't really been utilizing smokes a ton, if at all. So the Warden pick here, a little bit of a head scratcher potentially, unless of course you're just trying to play with the MPX 1.5, in which case, Warden's the only guy that can give you that.
I mean, sometimes you gotta go with what works best, and sometimes loadouts are what's best. But I do agree. I feel like there might be a little bit of a disconnect here on exactly why this Warden's being brought. I do feel like there's better utility out there and better opportunity out there. Like, why not just go ahead and bring the Doc? Like, seriously, bring the Doc, bring the Rook. That's like a double threat there as far as like health goes. Not that MystiC needs it, but it just would make more sense in this situation. But MystiC knows what MystiC needs to do, because they're the ones who sit and play together day in and day out here, so they just have this flow. The Dokkaebi Logic Bomb immediately goes out. You can hear the buzzes ring, so it does look like Hong Kong Rebels wants to try to get some information here off the side of MystiC, but Candle just being that Warden, trying to go back and forth and just be an absolute menace to the Hong Kong Rebels, but still, once again, a full minute into the round, and not a single kill has gotten on the board.
No, but we will see the pocket EMPs coming out there from Burnt Turkey. That was the most recent change here in this latest patch. Those pocket EMPs going out to several operators, Dokkaebi being one. And it just so happens the Burnt Turkey is very good on Dokkaebi. So it seems like, kind of a win-win all around. Aggro is going to be moving up here through the back stairs. Oh, no, you got to be better than that. Oh my goodness, not able to get it done. Aggro will be taking some damage there in the end. I believe that was the Ash that was shooting into him as he ran away, but poor Amaru on the drone didn't have the back handle. There we go. MPX 1.5 in hand. Gonna be able to get that long angle and take out the sledge as well. It's a 3v5. Just over a minute left here. Turkey gonna be doing some damage to Ozone, but not enough to take him down.
Oh, that poor Amaru was just not paying attention, trying to get some great intel for the team, but just gonna go down. A minute here left, and this is where we see things really start to come alive. These teams like to wait to these last critical seconds to really do what they do best. So Moses here is going to play this really patient. He's setting things up with his teammate Cryptix because he wants to make sure that they have all angles covered. But Burnt Turkey is going to come to play and take down Aggro, so the Rook is officially off the board. Now Burnt Turkey on that Dokkaebi has been absolutely psychotic. He's just amazing when it comes to this operator. But Cryptix is ready to take him, looks like take out the Ash with the shotgun, so Burnt Turkey is going to go down. And Vipoa not too far behind. Vipoa taking some critical damage here. That is your case holder. Once that goes down, you have nothing. But MystiC is going to go ahead and do some great team tactics, get 2 kills on the board in those last critical seconds, and takes another round.
The prone SAS shotgun, one of the most frustrating things to have to play against in Rainbow Six Siege. When you look at everything that there is that's frustrating about this game, someone lying in the middle of the floor with a 12 gauge shotgun has to rank up there pretty high. Great play though coming out from Cryptix. Knew that the push could potentially be coming from there. It was the Ash, low armor, low health, single shot with that shotgun blast was able to take care of what they needed to take care of. They will be going now back to this split site. Again, their tertiary site. It will be their last defensive round here. I think they know the mistakes that they made the last time they went here, and that's why they're like, hey, we can go back, we can make this work this time. And at worst, even if they do lose this, they're going to be in a 4-2 split here, which is really just about as good as you could ask for starting out on the defensive side of work.
Yeah, and we are going to see Aggro go ahead and bring out that Doc again. He did do quite an incredible job using that Doc as a flank operator in order to get some really cheeky kills early in the beginning of the, that previous round when we were upstairs here. But are we going to see him do this again, or are they going to mix it up? It does look like he's going to be all the way upstairs, but he's not potentially going to be alone. It looks like Candle might actually be hanging out with him, and these two can be absolutely double trouble. These two particular players have been on this team together for quite a while. We're talking like back in May, back with the CGN LAN. These two players have been playing together, so there's quite a bit of team synergy here. Ozone being Moses being the newest addition, but as far as, at least my last experience with them, Ozone joined a couple months ago, so this team really has a lot of potential with how long they've been together.
Yeah, and Ozone is just a fantastic player. He's been in the scene for a very long time, so able to be hopping in, and we've seen him actually perform really well for his team today. So 5 kills through 5 rounds, had that amazing 3K clutch up as well. So seems to be fitting right into the puzzle. Nice and snug, no gnarled edges like that. And this is actually a really heavy hold here coming out from MystiC top floor. You mentioned Candle was up there, but Moses was also up there as well. So he has since fallen off, it looks like, but there was a very early aggression there. Cryptix, again, playing in that server area. You can see he's waiting for someone to come through. The Fresher going to be able to do some soft breach work there, and they know that he's in there, so they're going to be trying to do now one up on. He's going to run away, and no real damage is going to be done to him, but Candle is going to do a ton of damage to 2 players, Rai and Mill. Because they're both going to go down. Can he get another one as Ozone? It's going to be put into the down but not out state. Does have the opportunity to be picked up potentially. Candle will be finished off. Aggro's going to have to fall back as he takes a little bit of damage himself. But being that he's the Doc, he'll be able to patch himself right up, no problem, and get right back into the fight.
And it looks like he's also going to be able to get Ozone back up on his feet and fully healed as well. Great situation for MystiC to be in, having these 4 players Two of them essentially overhealed at this point. Now Vipoa, Burnt Turkey, and Doug have a lot of work to do here in the last 40 seconds. They have to go ahead and figure out where each one of these Team MystiC players are, because they're going to be going up against numbers. It's not just about great gun skill at this point. It's going to be great angles that we saw held in the previous round when this site was played. That is really what it came down to, was MystiC just did it better. Vipoa is going to go ahead and start committing to this plan. Is going to start giving us additional time on the board for MystiC to kind of play around. Vipoa with that 1 HP and a Dream, he's going to have to get out of dodge, but there's 3 other players here on the board. All we need is 1 player to take that diffuser down, and we call it a night as far as the site goes. Moses is going to go ahead and look like potentially gets this off. Oh, it came down to milliseconds. If it had just been 1 second sooner, it looks like MystiC would have not gotten that round.
If they could have just gotten there literally seconds sooner, could have potentially got him off. But there's an old saying when it comes to planting or defusing the bomb, that is that pros don't fake, and neither do I. Great plays there coming out from MystiC once again. That flank that we saw through the upper attic worked out twice. We saw that Alibi do it the last time. Candle, he was able to get through. Got to get a little bit better with the bailiff shotgun, though, Candle. You're kind of spraying a lot there, not getting the circle opened up. But don't worry, buddy. Listen, as someone who plays a lot of Alibi, I'll coach you on the side. We'll get that taken care of. You'll be making perfect rotations in no time. But still, managed to work out, and you saw it was a 2-person push. So even though Ozone went down, or Candle went down, excuse me, Ozone was right there to be able to pick up that refrag. So great team play coming out from MystiC. They are going to be going on to the attack now, and quite frankly, their attacking lineup is looking very similar to what the Hong Kong Rebels were bringing. And on the flip side, the Rebels, they look like they're bringing almost essentially the same exact lineup that MystiC was bringing. So a little bit of, hey man, can I copy your homework? Sure, just change it up a little bit going on here.
I mean, that goes back to the conversation before even any of these rounds started. Really, Oregon just has been re-stratted, just whatever you can think of, it has been done on this map. So a lot of times we're going to see these teams run very similar lineups with just very minor adjustments. And speaking of minor adjustments, Burnt Turkey needs to think about a different area to start pushing into, because he's the first casualty on the board. Hong Kong Rebels going a player down. Not a fun situation to be in, but it's really down to just who can do these things on this map better. And right now, it's looking like that better team is going to be Team MystiC.
Aggro gonna find his 3rd opening pick of the game in 7 rounds. The only person he was tied with Candle. Candle has 2 opening picks as well, but Aggro, again, definitely living up to that name. Vipoa, though, gonna have a tough task, as Cryptics will be taken out by Doug, but Candle's right there to take out Vipoa and put things back into a 3v4. So you're trading out the Yana for the Mute. You're gonna take the shotgun, the C4 off the board, but you're gonna be losing 2 grenades, a good gun, and you're gonna be losing that hologram, which is unlimited information, essentially. So an interesting trade there coming out, as Rai will be taking out Moses. Your sledge gone as well, so no more frags at all here for the attacking side. Aggro got that SMG-12 in hand. He does have a little bit of help there, as Ozone's going to come swinging through and finish off Rai, put things into a 2v3. About 1:15 left here. Plenty of time for Team MystiC to finish off this attack.
And they've got the numbers to do it as well, and they have the players that you would want to have alive to do it. Ozone being that great force who, if somebody tries to flank him, he will literally just turn around and flick on somebody. Aggro being that aggressive player, the person that you want to connect headshots and you want to swing on everybody. And then Candle, your top fragger. If you have the most powerful people here on the board ready to play, you have a perfect situation. But it's all going to come down to, once again, like we've been seeing time and time again, these last critical seconds. Once you hit 40 seconds here on the clock, things should start lighting up. But the Smoke, who's still in play, is going to start getting these toxic babes out and start denying the push from Team MystiC. Doug, unfortunately, does take some additional damage, runs back to site to support his teammate, But remember, there's one more toxic bait here on the board. It's going to be a commitment issue here, and it looks like MystiC's not quite ready to commit to this push. They're going to have to kill these two players. Candle's going to take down Millis. Ozone's ready to live on this F key. He is going to stick this, but not before we're going to see Aggro live up to the namesake that we've been seeing him live up to all night and get the final kill. We've now officially moved into match point in the favor of MystiC.
MystiC putting on an absolute clinic here on Oregon. Again, a proving ground map. How good are you? MystiC, pretty damn good. We are going to have a rehost, though. Has disconnected. Unfortunately, we will be tossing it back to our lovely faces for just a moment. That's okay, because it's going to give us a chance, like I said, to kind of talk things through a little bit here. And this might be what the HK Rebels need. They might need a little bit of a break. You can kind of treat this as a tactical pause as well as a technical pause and kind of talk things through. Now, obviously, because it is a tech pause and not a tactical pause, they're not going to be able to talk to their coach. They're not going to be able to do anything like that, but we'll give them some time to kind of be like, okay, let's catch our breath. Let's, reset here. Still tons of Siege left to play on this map, and we'll have to see if they can capitalize on this little bit of a break.
Yeah, even though they can't talk with their coaches, they still can talk amongst themselves. And having those critical seconds where you're not having to scream over each other and telling, hey, listen, you guys slow down, listen. The no pressure conversations can do so much in these situations. We've seen even teams go and pull a complete reverse sweep, which is something that could potentially happen. We just won't know, obviously, until things play out. But I'm telling you, these two teams are really great teams to see go up against each other. I do expect a little bit more out of Hong Kong Rebels, but there is a little bit of fun fact that I do have about our Rebels, and it's the fact that they don't actually run strats.
They have strats, and they're just saving them. But we won't have to wait any longer to find out. As we see, there are ours in chat. We are ready to be going back in here. Team MystiC, they'll be going on to their second attacking round. The Hong Kong Rebels, they've had a little bit of a breather, and hopefully they can stop this momentum that is Team MystiC. Treat this as a little bit of an ice the kicker situation for all you football fans out there. But you talked about the reverse sweep. I was casting a match last night, and there was a rehost issue, or not a rehost issue, but a tech pause issue. Someone disconnected from the round, and well, they ended up coming back and winning in max OT on Clubhouse. So it has happened before. Sometimes, like you said, all you need is that calm moment where you're not screaming at each other to be like, hey, listen, we're a good team. Let's take a breath. Let's focus up, and let's get this round win. They will be going upstairs here to the bunk area for their defense, choosing to go back downstairs. And this is something we're actually starting to see a lot of teams really go through, where they are... Oh, okay. Not quite sure what happened there. We apologize for that. Batteries on Fraud Watch, I guess. I don't know what happened there. Apparently the tech issue was a little bit more than we anticipated, but that just means Hong Kong Rebels, they get a little bit more of a chance to kind of talk things through and figure out what's going to be happening.
I don't know, I just heard the and I'm like, oh goodness, what just happened? But it looks like we are good and ready to go. Just a quick little hiccup here on the board. We are still here on match point, favor of MystiC. MystiC, all they have to do is have one great attacking round, and they're going to close this out. I love the lineup that we have from the side of MystiC. Ozone bringing in that Lion, being able to give those brief, momentary pauses to the Hong Kong Rebels to stop them from moving around, and then also bringing in aggro on the Dokkaebi. Like, I love seeing Dokkaebi be more in play now. She is such a formidable operator, and then also being able to bring in not just the Logic Bomb, but the new Impact EMPs. Like, come on, she's a formidable force.
Yeah, and we saw Burnt Turkey do very well on her as well. Speaking of doing well, aggro, he's going to be taken out by Rai. Nice opening kill for the Hong Kong Rebels, and quite honestly, it's been their first opening kill since round number 1, Blaze. It's been a long time since they've gotten an opening pick, and of course, they did lose round 1, but This is going to put them in a very good position here as now they can just kind of anchor down. When you're on defense, you have that sixth player, so to speak, where the time is also on your side. The attacker's going to have to start moving here as we're closing into about halfway through this round.
Yeah, we're seeing it just like a repeating record player, essentially, where we're waiting until almost the end of the round to really see things heat up. But Doug's ready to get heated up a little bit early. Cryptix does go down. Ozone's already in and attempting to get the plant down, but does not even get halfway through it. Vipoa's going to take down Ozone, leaving poor Moses all by himself outside, really with not a not I'm trying to even think of the words for it at this point. Like, he's unable to do really anything. He's going up against 5 players all by his lonesome, and it just seems like there may have been some type of a breakdown in communication on what MystiC was supposed to be doing, because luckily he does get dug down, but not quite out, officially confirms it, but Moses is just not in a good position to win this.
No, definitely not, as that impact grenade from Wamaya is going to open up the floor right above him, and you can see, well, he tried to look up, but it didn't matter. The AUG going to be firing right through. You go, Aggro, asking for that Moss check is, surely after killing someone at the bottom of White Stairs and getting a call out that someone was at the bottom of White Stairs, surely he's walling 100%. But the Hong Kong Rebels will be taking another round here, a round that they desperately needed because things were getting tight. We will be going to another technical pause as Moses has decided to leave us for just a moment. And there you go. He's back. So he has returned. He just had to go part the Red Sea real quick. Just something real simple. He's back now. He took care of it in a second. He's good.
Yeah, he did it out of aggravation. He had to get some of that stress out from that last round. You can't really blame him for it, but you got to do what you got to do sometimes. But it does look like potentially we're going to go ahead and resume this timer here, moving to laundry and supply all the way back downstairs, the perfect defensive site. But we just haven't. I don't know what it is about these two teams in this specific site. We don't see it light up as we normally do. Like, traditionally, you would have a player playing on pillar, which kind of gives you a little bit of action, but more of these players are playing more back, more, in freezer, and some of them, like we've seen Aggro play a little bit more forward and a little bit more aggressive here. But it's just, I don't know, it's just a very odd situation to see how slow Oregon is being played nowadays. And it blows my mind. We used to have some great action. We used to have some great, what do you call it? Really kind of like edge of your seat situations where you don't know what's coming next.
Well, the thing is, though, and we've talked about it, Oregon, it's just been in the rotation for far too long. And that's what happens, you get a shiny new toy and it's exciting and it's new, but then, the arm breaks off of the new toy, it gets a little bit dirty, the paint doesn't match anymore because you left it out in the sun too long, and, you just don't want to play with it as much anymore, and things get a little bit boring. But what isn't boring is Cryptix, as he's going to be pushing up here into the shower hallway. You can hear the drone going to be assisting as he pushes through, F2 in hand. Probably one of the most formidable weapons that the attackers can wield, that super high fire rate, and with the recoil changes that have come here in this last update, not quite as unwieldy as it has been in the past, but definitely a potential for a high skill weapon, the ability to get a ton of kills in the right hands.
Doug, you're looking to potentially do some damage on the back stairs as Burnt Turkey's going to take Candle off. That is going to be your top fragger from MystiC off the board here. And also Vipoa looking to play in these servers, waiting for anybody to potentially cross his path. I don't think we're going to see anything just yet, as it looks like Moses and Cryptix haven't quite committed to their push. But we are going to have some intel gathering potential coming out Toxic Babes are already going to go ahead and start going off here. Start trying to stop this push from Team MystiC. Remember, they just need a singular round to close this map out. Aggro is just going to be sitting here on this Dokkaebi trying to just hold these angles, do what he does best. Moses is roaming around wanting to get additional intel for his team. It looks like Moses actually is the only one who's committing to potentially moving down to site, and that concerns me.
It was a little bit concerning as that's not exactly where you want to be. The last person on site, or the only person on site, excuse me, but by Poa, he's going to be rotating back down. Burnt Turkey now falling back as well. Again, they do have the mana count advantage, and now the timer is on their side as well as we are into the last 45 seconds here. Moses, he's going to be swinging into the freezer, that long line of sight that was opened up by the defenders. Just kind of peeking, making sure nobody's hanging out down there. He will take some damage, potentially from that smoke grenade, as now Aggro. He's going to be dropping in some flashbangs, but and then dropping into the hatch himself. Didn't look like he was going to be going at first, but now has. That smoke canister went way deep. Moses, though, he will be going down. Cryptix is going to drop there to potentially help. Doug takes a ton of damage, but still nobody for the Rebels. Has fallen, and Cryptix, though, he will go down. And finally, Moses goes down as Turkey gets one, and then another. Rai going to be able to get one as well as Doug, and the Hong Kong Rebels are going to be taking two defending rounds in a row here, looking much, much better than they did on attack.
I've got a little bit of a bone to pick with MystiC on that last round. The first problem that we encountered was Moses was ready to commit to a push, but not a single person from his team was. He was the only one that was sitting on those back freezer stairs ready to go, and the rest of Team MystiC was just upstairs doing I don't even know what. I don't want to say they weren't doing their jobs because we don't know. We're not a fly on the wall. We can't hear their comps, but it just seemed like one player out of 5 was ready to go. And when that player started pushing in, he was the first casualty to go down. So Moses goes down, but not out. And then we have a situation where his teammates want to go pick him up, but you're literally funneling in one by one to 5 players that are ready to commit to their positions and ready to commit to their angles. You have to disrupt those angles and those players before you do anything. And it just seems like MystiC was just running around, really not committing to the push at all.
Yeah. It's an interesting thing to witness, right? Because they were very aggressive on their defenses, but they're looking a little bit timid here on their attacks. There's not that same ferocity that they had on their defensive side, as they are kind of just holding back for a little bit too long. And that's kind of what we criticize the Rebels for, right? Taking a little bit too long to push into the building. Here we go, Candle. He'll be taken out early by Vipoa. It's going to be dropped and out for the rest of the round. And that is going to be your Dokkaebi off the board. Operator that could have had great things to do here. Pocket EMPs, the phone calls, and all of that. But Candle, since the rehost here, 0-3. Going to be able to help his team at all now, except maybe sit on some drones for some flank watch.
I do like seeing Burnt Turkey bring in the Bandito, bringing in those stackable batteries, and Aggro is going to start lighting up this board a little bit, and he's going to take down Rai. Now, for those who don't know who Rai is, that is a collegiate player that normally plays with North Carolina State, one of the top Rainbow Six colleges out there. So he is an incredible player that has had quite a bit of experience. Him going down early and not really going crazy on this board is a little shocking, but I think we're going to see him probably wake up a little bit and bank. Vipoa once again bringing some kills to the board, taking down Moses. That's 2 players now off the board from the side of Team MystiC. MystiC just really has to start showing that aggression that they are so good with. They're playing this too passive because we're now halfway into this round and we still don't exactly know what their commitment as far as their take's going to be. It's all going to come down to just, honestly, I think just waiting, and I think waiting's just going to continue to get these MystiC players killed.
Aggro could see the leg, but Ozone, he was up there to get the kill instead. Now we're going to see a drop through the hatch as Doug on that UMP of the castle, not looking to pick a fight with Buck and his C8. That weapon just has such a superior fire rate and damage and everything about it. You know, we've heard all the stories about how the UMP is the worst gun in the game, but you know, low fire rate, low recoil, does have the ability to do some damage, and you know, actually helped SSG get to their SI win. So is it really the worst gun in the game? Who knows? Ozone though gonna drop right in front of Aggro, and wow, Aggro, he's going to be able to get a kill on the burnt turkeys now as Ozone will be getting the plant off. It's in the 2v2 situation as well, but Aggro is going to turn that thing into a 1v2 as he will take down Vipoa. And now it's all going to come down to Doug, the low health UMP. Ozone is there. I believe that was a kill with the skeleton key. Yep, it was. Okay, skeleton key kill. A little bit of a memery there. You know, if there is a worse gun than the UMP damage-wise, it is the skeleton key, as someone who plays a lot of Buck. But great plays there coming out from MystiC. They're going to pull out a good win for their team. It was looking a little bit scary there towards the end, but they managed to pull it off. So GG's to them. They are going to take that one, and that was Hong Kong Rebels map pick, Blaze. So that's something to keep in mind here moving forward as we go to Bank, which was MystiC's pick.
Yeah, we might indeed see what we lovingly call a collegiate special, where each team takes each other's map. Very, very common thing we see here in the world of Siege. Now, in the T3 world, generally we do, if you pick it, usually you win. But I gotta say, like that, the camera actually catching Ozone just dropping from the ceiling and is like, "Hi guys, I go plant." That was funny. It was really funny.
That's just classic Siege. But speaking of classic Siege, what would be Siege without a break in between maps? We're going to go to a short one here, get everybody gathered up into the lobby. We'll be back with Bank in just a few moments.
So now you're here again, knocking at my door. A little too late for, I'm sorry for. The lights went out cause you kept cutting the cord, and I started to fade into your gray. See, I finally opened up my eyes, and I saw me coming back to life. That I'd be better without you inside. It's time to be someone I wanna recognize. The future starts right now. I made a reservation, but you never came, so I'm checking out. The fire you stole away, I know one day we'll come back around. The future is now. The future is now. The future is now. I waited for you in the passenger seat. There's only so far I can ride in your dreams. While you were chasing everything else but me, I'm starting to break out from your gray. See, I finally opened up my eyes, and I saw me coming back to life. That I'd be better without you inside. It's time to be someone I wanna recognize. The future starts right now. I made a reservation, but you never came, so I'm checking out. The fire you stole away, I know one day we'll come back around. The future is now. The future is now. I'm not backing down, cause the future is now. Not backing down, cause the future is now. The future starts right now. I made a reservation, but you never came, so I'm checking out. The fire you stole away, I know one day we'll come back around. The future is now.
We may see a Valkyrie come here off the board. You want to get those black eyes off of the board and give no additional intel to the other side of things. And it does look like I am right on that side of things. Last defensive operator to come off this board. It's going to potentially... do I want to guess it, or do I just want the people to just figure it out? I think we're just gonna see what the side of Hong Kong Rebels wants to get rid of, and it looks like the Mira, so no long distance engagements or cheeky new opened pathways for you to get intel. But yes, on to round one. We're gonna see how things are gonna start playing out here. We are missing Moses. Moses did disconnect from the actual match, and it does look like we're potentially going into a pause here, maybe a technical. I believe we saw something in that group, that all chat, about somebody with 150 plus ping. That's not fun to deal with.
You know, just download better internet. I don't know what the problem is here, but we are actually going to be going to a rehost here. So, hello, welcome back. We're still here. Thank you for being here as well. You know, by the way, did you drink water today, Twitch chat? Did you hydrate? Make sure you hydrate. Make sure you take care of yourself. All right, we love you here. But we also love our sponsor, Campfire Esports. Thank you to them for helping this season move along. But yes, we are going to be having a rehost here as we go on the bank. We talked about the knock ban, the Habana ban as well. I don't really think that's necessarily for the distance breaching because Ace is still available. I think that's going to be more for all the hatches that are in this map, because there's been a dichotomy shift amongst the hard breachers. Maverick is kind of out of the way now, even though he's still very good. M4 is still a very good weapon, but he lost his frag grenades, which was a big thing to have him. He was the only hard breacher that had true lethal potential. He was a 3-speed, great gun. The frag grenades, he was very sneaky, very quiet, being able to do what he did. Habana, though, since the change in her pellets and since the change to Ace's Selma charges, Habana has become the queen of hatches. She really, really has. And with Bank having so many of those hatches, even if Kayet is still on the board, you can only electrify 2 of them. So Habana's going to be able to get the rest of them open. This means now you're going to have to dedicate somebody to either bring you the can openers, or you're going to have to waste Selma charges, or potentially use a thermite charge on it. Lots and lots of options there. Habana just makes it that much easier to take care of. So why not get rid of her and make things a little bit harder for the attackers?
Well, I do know also, specifically for Bank, there is one thing that Habana can do that it would make it a little bit more difficult for the Ace to do. There's this double wall over by the elevator upstairs. A lot of teams do try to find a cheeky way to actually get that wall from a distance. We do see a lot of times that wall specifically is usually electrified, because that is a long angle that you can get from the roof outside. So if you want to get some cheeky rotating players, or players just really trying to hold down that area, that's also a detrimental thing to lose a Habana in a ban too, because that's always a great angle to have. But we are finally in the game. We're going to be starting things all the way upstairs. It's going to be CEO and Executive Lounge. I love this. This is my favorite site ever, and it's because if you've ever played Siege, the way these sites have been played have evolved over time. It used to be Kali's Proving Grounds. Now you occasionally will see a Glass being brought here. But ultimately, my favorite absolute thing that we have seen time and time again is the operator that aggro is on. I know he's going to be sticking this operator, because one thing that... Oh, okay, maybe not. We're going to see MystiC stick to it. It's all depending on who. But what Ozone does when he is on the Amaru, he likes to yeet himself in through the windows that put him directly into CEO and do an insta-plant. So we could potentially see a full-blown rush.
Well, you can see the Lion being brought there by Moses, and of course the Dokkaebi and the Ying as well. Chaos is going to be ensuing potentially here. No Frostmat to be able to stop them, and they're actually still setting up walls here. So Ozone could have potential for a very, very quick entry into the site as soon as they figure out exactly what is going on as aggro outside of these windows here. But oh no! Ozone gonna be taken out early by Millie. An unfortunate situation there as the Amaru falls to that FMG 9. being used by the smoke here. No SAS shotgun in hand. Great early pick there, taking out Ozone. However, will be traded out by Candle.
Oh, the two operators you want on the board right now are completely gone. Hopes dashed. Tactics completely changed because that Amaru was specifically to be used to take the case immediately into CEO and go for that direct plant. But that is also your smoke on defense just gone. So stalling tactics just done for. Yin Candelas are going to start coming out here. It's a 2v3 situation. Things are moving a lot quicker than we saw on the Oregon, but Cryptix isn't quite ready to see if he's going to live on this F key. He doesn't really have too much support other than from Moses. Not quite sure what Candle's doing. He's kind of hanging out outside. I don't know if he's trying to get intel or what, but just the Rebels still have Rai and Vipoa here on the board. It's gonna come down to great angles, and Cryptix is not in a good angle to get this plant down. Takes a lot of damage, but it does look like he's going to attempt to go ahead and commit to this. Plant does go down. Candle goes down right behind Plant. So does Cryptix, leaving just Moses here on the rappel. It does look like he may have dropped down, but if Vipo is brave enough, can go ahead and get this diffuser off the board. Moses is going to have to swing in here and commit to this, or else Vipo is going to win this battle. Vipo just in a better position than what Moses can shoot at, and first round's going to go to Hong Kong Rebels.
What a cheeky diffuse. So ever since they switched to the little iPad for the diffuser, it has been harder to long arm that actual diffuser, right? You used to be able to diffuse it from what felt like a mile and a half away. You could be across the room sometimes, and it kind of felt like you could be able to diffuse that diffuser or stop the diffuser. Now you have to be a lot closer to it. The fact that he was perfectly hidden and you could see they had no idea where he was. There was no drones on site. There was no cameras. There was nothing. And just a smart play there coming out from the Azami. Able to get it done. Was also able to get 2 kills as well. Now we're going to see the Rebels moving downstairs here into the CCTV site and the vault. They'll be trying to lock down this one already. Doing better than they did in the last map where they didn't win their first round. So already having a better round differential as things get started here on Bank.
I love this defensive lineup that Hong Kong Rebels is bringing to the table. We have the Oryx, the hatch jumper himself, one of the most powerful operators on Bank, in my opinion. One that truly should be banned a little bit more, because being able to get from point A to point B as quickly as he can, if the right player is playing it, that could be deadly. But also bringing that Azami that we did not see in Oregon, we do get to see those beautiful different, angles and areas of protection, or what I like to actually, I've started calling her Lego, just because she can kind of build her own area. But as I say that, Doug's going to go ahead and get Ozone and Burn Turkeys right behind to get another player off the board. That's Cryptix. 2 players with less than a minute even gone in the round actually make that 3. Aggro is going to go down as well.
Well, the good news is MystiC has a ton of time to think through what they're going to be doing here, but the bad news is the case is all the way over yonder, and now Moses is going to be taken out as well, and it's going to have to come down the Candle. The lone Yana going to just be falling back here and maybe trying to get a sneaky pick or 2, but essentially this is just a tactical timeout. They're going to be talking things through here. I sincerely doubt Candle will take this too seriously and get too aggressive, but as soon as I say that, well, he decides to peek, and it's actually going to end up being a flawless round for the Hong Kong Rebels. And in that particular situation where it's unwinnable, like I said, you're almost better off to just kind of run away, talk things through with your team, because now you've lost 2 rounds in a row. The first one was 100% on you. You didn't know where the Azami was when they were diffusing, or when they were stopping the diffuser. That's just poor information. This time, it's 100% on you because you're dying to spawn peaks on a map that you picked and on a map that has been in the game. Yes, it's seen a little bit of a rework, but has been in the game since launch. Team MystiC, you're better than this. You've lost those 2 rounds just because of poor timing, but also just lack of information, lack of communication, and lack of awareness. So they're going to have to pick it up here because the Hong Kong Rebels are up 2-0. And again, they are looking a lot stronger already than they did the entire match on Oregon.
So in the words of a very good friend of mine, that would be lack of fundamentals. You have to have a very solid ground of fundamentals in order to do really well on these maps, especially like Bank. Bank has so many different ways in which it can be played. The long angle can be played, the spawn peak angles can be played, the rush, you name it, you can play it on Bank. It is the most diversely played map really out there, because when you think of other maps like Theme Park, you think, okay, quick rush, push, and they really only go one area, and that's the balcony. You think of Cafe, which is our map 3, red stairs. But when you think of Bank, there's so many different ways that you can push this and you can mix and match it that there's really no telling what these teams are going to do until the push starts happening. But we are going to see this potential same situation where they're going to have a couple of these players from MystiC. They're going to be hanging out outside, getting some cheeky long angles, want to make sure that some of these angles are locked down before they start committing to pushing in those lower areas to get to site.
Yeah, and we mentioned it, all the hatches here, and you can see those hatches are reinforced for the most part, and the lone true hard breach of aggro on the A's, probably not going to be one of wasting those Selma charges. However, Blaze, a man after my own heart, Ozone, playing the one and only Breach Daddy Buck. The ultimate flex operator, in my opinion, since the changes made to the can openers, the ability to have 2 of them now, it's no longer a meme to bring these things. Now you bring in the soft destruction as well. Really, the only thing he can't do is clear utility with, you know, throwables if you do choose to bring those. But, oh wait, he has the Gone 6 now too. So Buck can literally do just about everything you need an operator to do. And speaking of operators doing things, aggro, he's going to be coming here through the metal detector. It could be given away. Oh, Millies, he wasn't droned out. He'll be able to take him down as Vipoa is going to be able to get a Nitro so as well onto Moses. A minute left in a 5v3. MystiC falling apart on their own map pick.
Millis did not come to play. That was beautifully done. Burnt Turkey taking down Ozo. That is Diffuser down. You have Candle and Cryptix left over here on MystiC. They're going to have to either recover that Diffuser, which luckily Cryptix is able to do with ease, but they have 4 other players to go up against. Now, one big point here, 30 seconds here left on the round. There is still a Goyo here on the board and his canisters as well. So if any of those canisters go off, and if they go off in unison, that is a lot of time that you have nothing to do against. You just can't move. You have to rush in through there and possibly die. But Millis unable to hide and be sneaky as before. Vipoa coming in though, giving round 3 to Hong Kong Rebels with a beautiful double kill there right at the end.
Vipoa's going to end up getting a 3K for his troubles there. He had that Nitro cell early in the round as well. And, you know, I mentioned it. MystiC, they're just falling apart on their own map. Looking back at the last map on Oregon, the Hong Kong Rebels only won 3 rounds altogether, right? They didn't win 3 in a row. The best they had was 2 in a row, and that was round 8 and round 9. They've already won as many rounds on their opponent's map pick as they did the entire game on their map pick, and it's only been 3 rounds. So the Hong Kong Rebels definitely much more comfortable here. Look, sometimes it happens. Sometimes you just need a warm-up game, right? Maybe they didn't get a scrim in before the game. Maybe they're a little bit cold going into that first map of Oregon. They're looking so much more here on Bank, and MystiC, they're going to have to do something quick here. Otherwise, find themselves in a very deep hole that they don't want to be in.
Yeah, and if they're smart, MystiC is going to not do what we saw them do on their first attack in the first time up here with the CEO and Executive Lounge. They just completely forego the Amaru, which is perfect in this situation because that is what Hong Kong Rebels is going to expect. They're going to expect the heavy push. They're going to expect those rushes to come out. But instead, we are going to see Ozone is going to bring out, honestly, one of my tried and true favorite operators, the Montang, the big man with the big shield. He is a great operator if you play him correctly, but Burnt Turkey is going to go take off a critical operator immediately. And that's going to be Candle on that Yana. That is a infinite drone off the board. But we still have 4 other players ready to keep pushing. Now, the thing that Hong Kong Rebels has to worry about is that Montang. Because Montang is going to start pushing up. And if it is played properly, which I don't believe it's going to be, because there's nobody to support that carrier, it's going to get a little ugly, because whenever you play a Monty, you want to make sure you have something to follow it up. And if that Monty goes down with the case, you leave a case wide open.
Well, not just that, leaving the case wide open, you really lose the ability to plant, because that's what you're bringing Monty for, that turtle plant, where you can turn around and either that or drop it early and have someone else pick it up and then plant behind him. Either way, the Monty, whenever you have a Monty picked up on your team, it's kind of like playing with a Clash, right? You have to organize around that particular operator, because although Clash is a little bit better solo than Monty is, she's still not fantastic. Now the smoke grenades are going to literally freeze the Monty in place. He has just enough area to not take damage inside of those smokes, but Burnt Turkey, he will be taken out by Moses. Will be the first kill here for Team MystiC. We are a minute left in the round here, so moving a little bit slower than they would like. Now Aggro, he'll be taken out by Vipoa, who has managed to sneak around behind. Going to be trying to take out the Monty as well. Going to do a ton of damage, but not finish him off, unfortunately. However, getting the opportunity to potentially swing up here in Banana as we close down to the final 30 seconds. All the peek outside, not able to get it done though.
Yeah, no, time looks like it's going to be on Hong Kong Rebels' side here. All they have to do is play this smartly and make sure that no additional bodies drop. We still have Ozone on that Monty. Not quite sure what he's going to be up to at this point, but he needs to make sure that he's supporting the rest of his teammates who are still alive. And as I say that, the Ozone does go down. Moses still hanging outside. The last 2 players still hanging outside. Moses, unfortunately, just swings in at the wrong time and gets taken out by Rai. And it's a back and forth situation between 1 player against 4, a situation we've seen multiple times, but Hong Kong Rebels do win with that beautiful 6th operator that you love to talk about, Crisis, time.
It's the 6th man. It's the 6th operator. It's the 6th player. It's everything you want. You know, he's my rotten soldier if you're a fan of the TikToks. We are going to see a tactical pause come out here, though, and I think, honestly, they need it. They're down 4-0, them being MystiC, of course, down 4-0 here, and unfortunately, this, again, their map pick, and they have just completely fallen apart here. They were playing so well on Oregon, and now they come Bank. I was expecting to see a lot more out of them, as Bank is a little bit more defender-sided. I would say the statistics would probably back me up there, unless I'm wrong, in which case chat will let me know about it. So, you know, we'll have to see if I get corrected at some point or another. But it's 4-0. The Hong Kong Rebels have already gotten more round wins than they did on the entirety of their own map pick. They're not slowing down anytime soon, and nothing that MystiC is throwing at them has worked at all. These have not been close rounds, Blaze. These have been blowouts pretty much the entire time for the Rebels.
And that's something MystiC kind of should be talking about in that tactical timeout that they just had. They should really be figuring out, okay, this didn't work. This could work. Let's try this. You really have to move into a mindset where you're going to be re-stratting against your opponent as you're learning who they are and how they play. You can VOD review all you want, but sometimes teams pocket these strats that they use on game day to prevent people from being able to really do, you know, the stratting ahead of time. And that is honestly something that Hong Kong Rebels, just having spoken with them before and knowing that they're not really a team that sits there and goes in and just makes really like intense strats. They just kind of play off of their opponent. We're seeing that work in their advantage. Now, MystiC, however, they have such a seasoned team with seasoned players that know how to make these calls and how to just really adapt to situations. We're just not seeing them do it. So MystiC's going to have to prove a point here, as moving all the way back downstairs, having a Mozzie on the board to deal with, and also having a Capcan on the board to deal with. It's going to have to come down to perfect communication and droning. If those two things don't happen, we're going to see a 5-0.
Other important thing here is Candle has to stay alive. You mentioned it, those Mozzie pests going to be hard to get drones around, and that is the one thing that Yana can do, is hard counter a Mozzie. That hologram cannot be picked up by the pest, so can walk right past them and be able to gain invaluable intel. Finally, Moses is going to be able to get the opening pick for Team MystiC here, and that is going to be Doug off the board. The Capcan, those traps were already placed around, and you can see Doug is calling out there was some silent for play here. So, you know, just siege things. If you play siege long enough, these are things that you're going to experience. And speaking of experience, Millie's he's tucked into that small office. Ozone, though, he's going to be dropped as well as Burnt Turkey. Going to be using that MP5 to do some serious damage and take out the soft breach, but also, well, no, it's not the only can openers. Aggro has some. Okay, so they still have the ability to get some hatches open, but now they can only get 2 open compared to the 4 they would have been able to get with Ozone.
Yeah, and that just not a fun situation to get stuck in, but MystiC should be able to bring this back, as this even man count does give them a little bit more of an advantage than they've had in previous rounds. Usually we see multiple players from MystiC go down. As I'm saying that, Moses immediately goes down, so man advantage is officially now out off at the table. Candle essentially being in sight. It looks like there's only one player that may know where he's at, but I guarantee you Turkey probably just gave that information over to his teammates. Candle is going to get a crisp and beautiful pixel peek on to Burnt Turkey, making things even more even in this situation. But Vipoa and Candle looks like they're going to start going head to head here. The smoke canisters are going to start being deployed. 37 seconds here left in the round, and once again it doesn't seem like there's a full commitment to a push. Cryptics being off, and essentially Timbuk2 not helping his teammate Candle, who's going off on these rebels, trying to clear things up to get these plants out. But last smoke canister does go out. Frag grenades start ringing out from Candle and Cryptics, but no kills are to be found here. It looks like a 10-second situation. Aggro has to commit to this plant. If it is not committed to, it will not be a good situation. And it does look like, luckily, that 6th player came in handy for the Hong Kong Rebels once again.
If I'm Candle, and this is no pun intended, I'm heated right now at my teammates. This man sat inside a CC, fighting off essentially the entirety of the Hong Kong Rebels defense, got a 3K on the round, and had no backup for, I'm going to say, at least a minute. He was in that site very quickly once he was able to get that opening kill onto, I believe it was Doug, who had been tucked back, or no, it was Burnt Turkey, excuse me. He was tucked back there into the vault area. He was able to then push into CC. He was fighting off the smoke canisters, the smoke himself, tossing grenades, getting kills, doing everything he needed to do. Aggro was nowhere near him. Cryptics was nowhere near him. And Aggro had the diffuser. They left Candle out high and dry. And again, if I was him right now, my voice comms would be very spicy.
And I mean, can you blame him Because it got
Absolutely
to the point
not.
where honestly, like, it's almost like we were watching more of an unranked situation where you just have a bunch of people random queuing. I hate to put it in that sense, but it's really true. If anybody's solo grinded on unranked, you know dang well there's always that one player that's off in Timbuktu, not doing anything other than trying to quick peek for kills. And I feel like that's kind of what we saw out of Cryptic, minus the killing part. But he was just in a very precarious situation and a precarious spot where as soon as Candle was where he needed to be, which was essentially on site, the call should have been made, hey guys, free site, free site. 2 players from Hong Kong Rebels were zeroed in on Candle at some point, and that's, if you would have taken advantage of that time just a little bit sooner, it would have worked out much better.
Essentially, what you're trying to say is Aggro and Cryptix threw harder than Randy Johnson in the 90s. We get it. All right. So it was bad. But we're on to a new round here, and this is going to be MystiC's final attacking round, as they will be attacking this middle floor site of the dining area. Vipoa going to open things up on the Ozone. Ozone dropping a goose egg, the only member of MystiC who has not been able to get a single kill. Literally everyone else in the lobby, including Rai and Doug, who only have 1 kill, have more kills than Ozone right now. MystiC desperately going to need to pick it up here, but just over halfway through this round, and absolutely no real estate has been taken by the attackers. They are just upstairs, you know, doing a little bit of damage, but they're not even above the site, Blaze. They're across the hall.
It's going back to what we just witnessed from, you know, that last round. We have these players so spread out and are essentially taking these fights one by one. And that's not a great mentality to have. Aggro is going to go down to the hand of Millis again. Cryptix is off literally on the other side of the map, pushing these stairs. Luckily, he does have the diffuser coming up behind him from Moses. Moses does manage to get a kill onto Rai, so it does kind of help, but it's going to really come down to the team play here. And it just seems like MystiC's just falling apart at the hands of Hong Kong Rebels. They snap and everything's over. Luckily, Moses hopefully is going to get this plant down. Please get this plant down. We need to see a MystiC advantage. 45 seconds comes on the clock, gives a little bit more time to work with. Cryptix is able to go ahead and tag Doug, but Doug is ready to go ahead and get this diffuser taken care of. Vipoa and Doug being the last 2 alive for Hong Kong Rebels, giving them an additional round. This should have been a round that went in the favor of MystiC, but once again, MystiC did just not set themselves up for success here.
Vipoa looking at Candle's 3K in the last round and be like, hey, I can do that too. Managed to get a 3K for himself here. You know, Blaze, we talk about it all the time, right? You want to get your splits to 3-3 at a bare minimum. 4-2 is kind of the sweet spot, right? You know, if you can get 4-2, you're sitting pretty. A 5-1 is kind of rare, and a 6-0 is damn near impossible to pull off. The Hong Kong Rebels have doubled their rounds from the last map. They are on match point. MystiC, on their own map, have not been able to take a single round so far, and you can bet that the Hong Kong Rebels are not going to be letting up anytime soon. They have the foot on the throat, and they are going to just keep stepping down, squeezing what little life is out of MystiC, as they're going to try to send us to map 3 of Cafe.
I'm not a fan of what I just witnessed Aggro do. Not a fan at all. So a Prisma
with the shotgun?
No. There was a Prisma that was thrown out. Prismas are generally used for those, you know, early, like, what do you call it, quick peeks, and those, you know, just, pre-firing. I can't even use my words tonight. But those early pre-fires to get kind of like that intel to know exactly where people are pushing. Well, a Prisma was thrown out and placed in an area that it's supposed to go, and Aggro just took it out to put a frost mat down. he blatantly wasted utility. I don't like seeing that because that is a tried and true sign that you and your teammates are not communicating, because you should know that Prisma was there in advance. Just as Rai knew that Candle was exactly where he was, and luckily Vipoa does go down on the side of Hong Kong Rebels as well, making things even. We're seeing the backs and forths already start, and it's just over a minute into the round.
Yeah, Millies and Moses, they have some words to exchange, but Ozone, he's going to be able to finish off, and he wants to join in the conversation as well, but he will be taking out, finally gets on the board, couldn't do it all attacking round with that C8 in hand. Finally, just got to put the UMP in his hands, apparently. It's not the worst gun in the game anymore if Ozone can get a kill with it. Burnt Turkey going to be playing on Sam Fisher. Zero, as he is called in Rainbow Six Siege. Going to fire out some of those SAM cams and try to get a bunch of intel, and this is a great map for him to do it. Lots of places to fire those cameras, and you can see where he fired him into the lobby. That is essentially going to be able to see the entire front lobby up in through Banana as well. So tons of intel going to be gained from that single camera. Oh, and of course it can shock somebody if they're running past it as well. But we have a minute left here, and MystiC, they are falling back. They do still have time on their side, but Moses, a single bullet from any one of those attacker guns, going to be taking him down. So to be incredibly careful playing on this alibi about where he chooses his next engagement.
One of the things Moses has been having a very big difficulty on is the fact that he tends to put his body in bad positions at the wrong time. We've seen that when he was on the rappel. He'd kind of get a little wiggly, and then boom, he's just dead. So he has to be careful of those, the hatches as well as the stairs. Aggro is going to take down the force to be reckoned with, which was Rai, leaving a 2v3 situation. It does look like Aggro is going to be taken out by Burnt Turkey. It's a situation after situation that both of these teams are having to deal with. Burnt Turkey does go down, not quite out just yet. He is a human drone at this point, can give his teammates some great information, but Doug, being that last player who's still up and kicking, once you take him out, Turkey goes right behind him, and this is the first round we do see MystiC take here on Bank.
They were finally able to get it done, and it wasn't clean, it wasn't flashy. It was a dogfight the entire way through, but they were able to get it done nonetheless. The good news is now they only have 5 more to go, to send it to OT. You know, it's less than 6. You know what I mean? So they only have 5 to go now. It can be done. We've seen reverse sweeps happen in the past, but I just think the Rebels are so incredibly strong here that you never want to say never, right? It's never until it's actually over. But, you know, the fat lady is warming up her throat to get ready to sing. The Hong Kong Rebels are still firmly in control. Team MystiC, they've got to play perfect siege for 5 more rounds. Cannot accept any mistakes. Whereas the Rebels, they can afford to kind of toss a round or two, especially on these sites that, you know, are defended very often. Their first and second sites, they're going to be the best sites that they go to defend to. Third site, that could be where the Rebels really pick up here and take us to the victory and a potential map 3.
See, I'm not letting you get away with the comment that you just made. Never say never and talking about a fat lady singing. All right, Justin Bieber. I had to do it. It was sitting there just brewing. I was waiting for it.
Justin Bieber is not a fat lady though. He's a skinny Canadian. He's essentially Schmitty with more tattoos.
Oh my god! At least his mic works.
There.
I'm gonna hear about that one later because Schmitty is actually one of my very good friends. But early kills already here on the board. Burnt Turkey is gonna be taking out Candle, and then Vipoa going down on the side of Hong Kong Rebels. Really, what needs to happen here is we need a little bit more clean communication from MystiC. We did see some situations with early setups not going correctly. Remember, most teams who scrim on a consistent basis usually know how to get their setups done because they have pathways, they have plans. But it does look like Aggro's ready to get a little bit of aggressive. We do had somebody trying to push in to that window, but alas, not able to get in there just yet. Looks like we may have some rotates coming out here.
And that kill, by the way, onto Candle from Burnt Turkey will put him in the double digits. Vipoa is sitting at 11 as well. He was actually the first one to crack into double digits there, and really kind of top heavy for the Hong Kong Rebels there in the kill department. Meanwhile, MystiC, it's not top heavy at all because they just can't get any kills. The SAM cam has been placed, and I do not think that I don't think he knows, unless that was just getting shot out right there. That could have been absolutely deadly for the Goyo, where I do believe that it was found out and has been shot. Ozone, oh, their cameras have been hacked. Oh no, that's not going to be good for Team MystiC.
Not at all. Once you get as much intel as the Hong Kong Rebels has, you essentially give a 7th player over to, actually no, a 6th player over to the attack, because now the attack has an additional set of eyes. But it comes back down to what we've seen, this really back and forth situation go with these last 40 seconds, because we're going to have to see Hong Kong Rebels just start pushing as hard as they can, because we do see the, MystiC, honestly, they're starting to double stack here, and this is amazing for them because if somebody goes down, there's an easy, really quick refract potential, but Goyo canisters do start getting popped, starting to slow down Hong Kong Rebels from advancing forward. Burnt Turkey's going to go down. Right behind comes Millis. Rai and Doug in a situation with just each other once again. Looks like Doug's going to start lighting up this board. Finally starts getting killed. Triple kill here on the board. He's going to go and start going for this plant. Aggro has to hightail it over to Doug to go ahead and prevent this plant from going down. And he is successful. Round number 2 on the board for Team MystiC.
So MystiC able to pull that one out there in the very end. Doug with a 3K. I want to bring up, though, what Doug decided to do in those final waning seconds. And this is kind of what separates the good players from the smart and the great players. Yes, he could have chased that frag. Yes, he could have attempted to end it with a 4K. He stuck the plant because he knew time wasn't on his side. And that is how you know that that player has the awareness of the time left in the map. And again, that's what's going to separate good players from great players and from very smart players as well. Now, did he ultimately win the round? No, he didn't. However, did he give his team the best chance to win that round? Absolutely, because he still attempted the plant, and I don't know exactly how far away he was from finishing it, but he was close. If he could have finished that plant, turned around, maybe kill off, the final member of Team MystiC and be able to get that done, it's possible. But didn't happen. It's an unfortunate situation for him. Now MystiC will take 2 rounds in a row. They'll be going up here to CEO on round number 9.
I really like where that bulletproof camera went. That bulletproof camera that was just deployed in the CEO's office has a beautiful visual onto those windows that we usually see those rushes come into play. We do have what looks like a rush coming from Hong Kong Rebels. We have we do have the Ying, which is going to throw out those flashes, create some distractions. We have a glass on the board, which rarely comes out, but there's always a purpose for the glass. He can see through the flashes, he can see through the smokes, he can get some nasty work done. But we also have Vipoa, who brought out the Capital with the fire bolts, the smoke bolts. Not only can you push back any type of advance on a plant, but you can mask it with those smokes as well. Very deadly operator if played properly.
And that kind of is the caveat, right? If played properly, gonna have to make sure that he gets the job done that is required of him. It used to be that, Glass just kind of sat outside on the garage looked into the big windows. Now that Castle has become more prominent and those windows have been changed up, it's not really the role he plays anymore. You can actually see now he's going to be upside down repelled here. Those Candelas are going to be coming through. He has a very nice angle there into that upper janitor closet, the storage room. And if aggro decides to get a little bit cheeky with the peek, there it is. Doug, he's going to be able to get the first one on the aggro and open things up for his team. No frost mats that they're going to have to worry about, but Candle, he has a gun and the word, so you're going to have to worry about him as Cryptix. He's going to be able to get one onto Vipoa as well, and that will be Case down on site. 2 members now repel in, but they are on the other side of the wall, so luckily not able to be killed there, but Burnt Turkey, he will be taking out Candle, put things back into a 3-3.
Oh, cheeky situation here. Burnt Turkey knows exactly where this MystiC player is hanging out. One wrong move and he goes down. Cryptix gets headshotted completely off the board at this point. 2 players remain on the side of MystiC. 3 on the side of Hong Kong Rebels. We still have players from Hong Kong hanging out outside, repelling, but Doug looks like he's ready to do some damage onto Moses, as all by his lonesome self, Ozone has to finish this out. He's got to commit to this 2v1 situation. Not fun to be in whatsoever. You've got Doug officially here on site. He's ready to start going for that plant once again. Rai and Ozone go back and forth. Rai taking some insane damage there. Doug not quite ready to commit full to this plant yet because Rai is literally 1 HP in a dream at this point. Doug just cannot get this plant down no matter what he does. He's going to try for a 3rd time here. Is this one going to be successful? He is in a better position to get it down. He does successfully get it down, and Rai comes in with a beautifully placed bullet. And we are officially going to map 3 as Hong Kong Rebels take a victory 7-2.
That, look, MystiC won 7-3 on Oregon, but it was not as dominant as this map just was. A 7-3, yes, is a great scoreline to have, but a lot of those came down to individual clutch plays and multiple 3Ks and some 4Ks as well, and individual efforts on Oregon. Listen, if you want to play bank in competitive, watch this VOD, watch what the Rebels did, Control-C, Control-V, and put that in your strat book. Because this was surgical, this was a clinic, and this was clean the way that they just dominated MystiC on their own map pick.
Yeah, and I absolutely love seeing from Hong Kong Rebels specifically that unwillingness to let go of that diffuser. The moment that they started committing to those plants, we didn't see just one attempt. We saw
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for waiting through that little bit of a delay. My name is Crisis. This is Phoenix Blaze, and we have a special guest, a Dogecaster as well, Paulo. He's going to be here bringing you all the Bork by Bork action of this Map 3 Cafe Dostoevsky.
He is not too happy with me right now because we are exploiting him for views and he does not get enough milk bones as far as payment goes. So hashtag avenge Apollo. But yes, we are going to map number 3. It is Hong Kong Rebels versus Team MystiC, the main squad, as is. We did see things kind of fall apart for MystiC on their own map pick of Bank, but hopefully we're going to see them bring it back here on this third map as we move into the operator ban phase.
Yeah, Team MystiC really did fall apart on Bank, and it was, as I said there at the end, if you missed it, if you're going to be playing Bank and competitive, the Rebels really did put on a clinic as to how to play that. I have a feeling we're going to see a knock ban again. They have banned knock all night long, so no real shock there coming out from the Rebels. Team MystiC, it'll be interesting to see who they choose to ban here, with Cafe being a little bit different. Thatcher. That's it's an odd choice. Thatcher is an operator that really hasn't seen as much bans recently, given that the pocket EMPs have come in and kind of pseudo replaced him a little bit, but he will not be able to play, and neither will Wamai. So Wamai and Thatcher banned out for Team MystiC. Rebels, who are they going to ban out now?
Only the timer will tell us, and that's going to be the mirror. The black mirrors off the table, not being able to open up those angles. We did see MystiC specifically use the mirror on Oregon and used it fairly well, as that is the map that they did take. So this being the decider map, the end-all be-all, as you would say it, we are going to go ahead and start things up in Bar and Cocktail Lounge. Very tried and true and typical site that you would see pulled out from really any competitive team when they're going on Cafe for the first time.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
Moses didn't have a custom background on his operator card. Boo him. Everyone boo him. He did not have a custom operator card.
Skinnergy.
Well, not even Skinnergy. He was just default Danny. But anyway, we're gonna be going to the top floor here, this bar cocktail area, and quite honestly, there's not really too much to go into here. Cafe Dostoevsky, since getting its little bit of a rework, has become one of the most popular maps in the entire game, inside of competitive, outside of competitive. Doesn't really matter where. The addition of the Heaven area and also the new Balk area as well has really made players enjoy, especially this top floor site here. Is that...
Attackers are heading out to defuse a bomb.
Okay, it's not what I thought it was that I saw. Okay, never mind. Anyway, yes, this map, it's a staple. Not really too much to go into here about defending this top floor. It's been defended pretty much the same way since this rework happened.
Yes, and it looks like a potential rush situation coming out from Team MystiC. The Amaru, Ying, as well as the Capital on the board. So your operators are going to slow, get in quick, and absolutely annoy are on the board. Now, Moses also bringing in the gridlock, being able to throw out those stinger tracks to prevent any type of rotate. A great operator to bring on the board to prevent any cheeky little flanks, but Candle is sitting here waiting for that perfect moment, that perfect amount of intel to just yeet his little butt inside that building by rappelling in there with such great force. But still, no intel to be given to get him in there. Once he's in there, he'll be able to set up some really great angles. But Burnt Turkey hanging out in Cocktail, just waiting for something to happen. Rai does take down aggro. Candelas start going off left and right, and it is becoming an absolute war zone as Ozone does get in the building, starts going for the plant. This is the rush that we were talking about, does not get it down. 4v2 situation with only half of the round gone.
So again, the one good thing is now MystiC has plenty of time to discuss what just went wrong, to which the answer is literally everything. And they can kind of figure out where they want to go here. Vipoa is pretty low on health. We do have two very strong guns from the attacking side here. Moses was going to drop down to the new Valk. Millie's is going to be able to get him done. No, Cryptix is going to drop into red and finish him off. It's a 1v3. This Dokkaebi, a very strong operator all night long for both teams. Can they do it one more time? Peeking now into the pixel area. Some flashbangs coming out. ADS is going to capture that. Looked at the hologram. Didn't shoot. That's great trigger discipline coming out from Cryptix as we fall under a minute left in the round.
Oh, Cryptix has quite the mantle to fill right now as he's going to go ahead and start getting into some, it looks like, back and forth action with the Valkyrie. Valkyrie's not quite ready to give up just yet, and just like that, Doug is going ahead and securing round number 1 for his team here on Cafe.
I believe that was the Alibi, not the Valkyrie.
Yeah, I think you're right. I saw the Valkyrie take damage at the same time, so brain. It happens.
Yeah, either way, it doesn't really matter. It was you're talking a mountain and a half to climb there with essentially a broken leg. Also, CZ75, have we not seen Canadian on white stairs? But that's, get rid of it. Get rid of the CZ75. Don't be using that.
Attackers need to
All right,
locate
white
and
stairs.
defuse bombs.
Pictures that, you know, lead to unfortunate events, right? Just stop it. Get some. But anyway, the team that doesn't need help right now is the Rebels, as they are just picking right back up where they left off on Bank. Very, very strong around for them, and they will now be going downstairs to this kitchen area. And this is probably the site that saw the most change with that update that came to Cafe, you know, a little over a year and a half ago. So this is the site that at first teams didn't really want to play it. They had to figure it out, but now that it has been figured out, it's some of the team's favorite sites on the entire map.
Yes, and we do see Doug here bringing out the Warden, which generally would be a direct counter to the Ying, but we only have 3 sets of flashes here on the board, and that's going to be coming from aggro on the Dokkaebi. Now, this is a pretty standard lineup we're going to see from the attacking side of things. It looks like probably no rush is going to be in sight here. We're going to see some more, hopefully slow and methodical play, but Ozone bringing in the Zero. Zero, to me, is one of the most underestimated and underused operators because you don't just get the cams. You know, we like to call them SAM cams, but you use those cams to burn utility as well. So you have quite a few things that you can do with him. And since he's got the new can openers, it does help him be a little bit more formidable opponent to go against. But speaking of formidable, aggro living up to that namesake once again, taking down Milla's first person off the board, and that unfortunately was a Hong Kong Rebel.
Wasn't just a Hong Kong Rebel, that's your smoke. The last person you want to lose early on this team. So those toxic babes no longer really going to be a threat. Still 2 nitro cells though in the hands of Doug and Burnt Turkey. So still plenty of plant denial, but you're losing that ability to slow the push now from those smoke canisters, those toxic babes. So definitely not the operator you wanted to lose. But we did see that aggro took a bunch of damage as so very where they position themselves, as mentioned there on Bank. Team MystiC, they've just not been positioning themselves well. They grab the camera here, actually, some drone down just to make sure that it's clear so that aggro isn't going to be shot the second he swings around and tries to grab that phone, and I believe they're going to be able to get it done. So the attackers are now going to have access to all of the cameras that the defenders have on the map.
Intel is any intel that you get is good intel, especially in the form of cameras. Also, when you have a, let's see, do we even have her on the board? We don't have her on the board. Imagine having a Valkyrie on the board and losing those black eyes. That absolutely sucks. Imagine getting downed but not quite out by Hong Kong Rebels. I know Moses is probably feeling that right now, but he is a moving human cam at this point, but luckily he was able to be picked up by his teammates. A 4v5 situation continues to go on as we have 30 seconds here left in the round. We need to see additional kills come off the board. Moses almost being confirmed was great, but his body being alive is not good for Hong Kong Rebels. Now Doug is going to be taken out by a nice little headshot, but Burnt Turkey coming in to get aggro as an attempt to plant to go down. It doesn't look like Ozone's going to be able to commit to that, but 6 seconds here left in the round. Things are in the favor of the Hong Kong Rebels. All they have to do is stay alive at this point, and indeed they do.
Turkey hit what is quite possibly one of the nastiest SMG-11 shots I've ever seen. That is an incredibly long-range shot for that gun, able to just click the head of the attacker, give himself a nice kill there to be able to stave off that attack. The Hong Kong Rebels, they're going to take another win, and that's a phrase that we've been hearing a lot recently over the last 2 maps. MystiC once again not able to seem to be able to get any kind of footing. They were able to pick Moses up, and apparently Moses is part honey badger, because even though he got down to what I believe was a nitro cell, he just went right back to smashing floors. So he didn't really care. He got picked up. He was going to continue to do his job, only on 20 health, so really as helpful as he would have been at full health. But what happens when you're not paying attention to potential nitro cells, what happens when you get any drones on site? See that there could be nitro cells from underneath. And on a map like Cafe, you know, we just played on Oregon and then we played on Bank. Both of those maps have limited play. Cafe, every floor is breachable for the most part. So you have to watch where you step on pretty much every single inch of this map, because there could be a death from below waiting for you.
Ooh, operator that we haven't really get to see too much play from. We do see Moses bringing out Sens. Sens having those little canisters that he throws out, or they throw out, in order to take those projector lights, essentially what they are. It's projector lights that create a shield. I absolutely 150% love it on a site like Bar, but I don't know if I'm gonna like it so much where we're at right now, because there's not too much of an area in which you can benefit and really protect yourself by throwing those projectors. It's going to have to come down to really seeing a new way of playing Sens on this specific site, because I have yet to see a very successful situation with Sens other than that bar cocktail situation.
Sens is an interesting operator. They don't have the best guns in the game. I'm not a huge fan of their assault rifle. They do have the 417 DMR though, which is essentially a Mack truck every time you fire that thing off. So does have tons of fragging potential. The little Beyblades that they can throw out that eliminate that smoke wall or the light wall. It's okay, like you said. I don't really feel like teams utilize it properly, so we'll have to wait and see what they can do. And speaking of not utilizing things properly, Moses, just a little bit of a delay there, and kind of the one issue with having the DMR, you've got to be able to click every single time you want a bullet to come out, whereas if they had an automatic weapon there, probably could have actually ended up getting that kill onto Vipoa, the Valkyrie, but Boas lived to see another day and use that second life appropriately, able to take out Candle, who hasn't gotten a single kill throughout this entire game. Cryptics, though, will be able to get the refrag, though, onto Vipoa and tie things up 4-4. But Blaze, under a minute left as Millies is going to take out Cryptic.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what the idea here is other than kill or be killed. We are going to see Aggro take down Burnt Turkey, and that is another operator off the board for Hong Kong Rebels. But we have yet to see those Sens ROU projectors come out. We haven't seen the potential of this operator. The gun's just not going to cut it here. You're going to have to use the utility. Now, having these toxic babes start being thrown out one after another and slowing down this push, the best thing that you can do is to throw out these Sens projectors to protect your teammates, because Ozone was in the perfect position to start planting, but it looks like once again these communication breakdowns are being so detrimental to the side of MystiC. Once again down to just seconds, and we're potentially going to see those seconds win another round for the Hong Kong Rebels. Doug goes for the swing, almost gets it, but Hong Kong Rebels 2 rounds in a row, 2 rounds won by time running out.
What MystiC is doing? They're
Throwing?
Well, okay, yes. I don't know why they're throwing. Like, and you can see there, we're going to ask for a tactical pause here coming out from MystiC, and we should be getting that. They're hitting the PT. Yes, there we go. Okay, so they got their pause in. But even that, it took so long for them to decide that they almost ended up missing it there for this round. They are down 3-0. They desperately needed it. So it's going to have to come down to the coaching now. This is a tactical pause. This is where teams can talk to their coach, kind of figure out what it is going wrong, because let's face it, Blaze, they haven't had a lot go right for 2 maps. You know, they were absolutely dominated on their map pick, and like I said before, the Rebels, they're just kind of picking up where they left off on Bank.
Yeah, and here's kind of the situation that broke down that last round. We did have Moses in train. He was ready to go. That is your Sens player. That is the person that you want to protect the planter. Then you had Ozone push in and get into that plant position, but no ROU projectors were to be found. So Moses would have needed to push up just even slightly to be able to get that ROU projector thrown out through that fireplace rotate and actually protect his teammate. Because if that would have came out in a little bit more strategic fashion, yes, you kind of know you're going to pre-fire that corner, but even pre-firing that corner but not knowing the exact position of that planter can still give a 1% additional chance into getting that plant down. So essentially Moses was just hanging out in train, really waiting for his team to show up, and that's a situation that we saw on Bank, where one player was ready to go, essentially on site, and just no execution happened.
And you mentioned earlier on Oregon about how MystiC is a team that's kind of the core of MystiC has kind of been playing together for a very long time. So that's got to be incredibly frustrating as well for a team that's been together for as long as they have, for at least the core of the team to have been together for as long as they have, to feel like you can't trust your teammates to have your back and be there for you. That's got to be an absolute hit to the mental, because you're doing every single thing that you can. And I'm gonna go back to that basement site where Candle was inside a CCTV for a full minute fighting off the entire Hong Kong Rebels defense and just got no help. And that, you mentioned it perfectly, that last round there, essentially the same exact round, just on a different map. You had someone ready to go, no support from their team, and again, that's a tilter. If you're on that team and you're the one being left hanging out to dry, you definitely have some choice words for your teammates after that round.
I mean, can you, like, really, like, even just think about it, just being that solo queue player? Like, I'm going to go back to the unranked situation that I talked about in the last map. That you always have that one person that's ready to commit to doing things, and then obviously you have the person that's off in Timbuktu. But this case, his entire team is essentially off in Timbuktu. The only player that was close enough to do any real teamwork was Ozone. But when Ozone has the diffuser, he has one job. It's called living on the F key. You live on that F key until the rest of your team's dead, or until you have to pick up your gun and shoot. But your job is that F key. And we have to see MystiC support Ozone enough to get those plants down. Luckily, Moses is able to get Doug off the board early, so that does assist them a little bit, but those alibi prismas are already going to be out. They're already going to be creating a little bit of a nuisance as far as these pre-fires go. But MystiC has played better than this. We've seen them play better than this. They have to wisen up and start supporting the objective, not just kills.
Exactly. I mean, you're 100% correct there. And as you said, those alibi holograms, yes, they will be put out. And people might say, well, alibi's dead. Why shoot them? Because you're pre-firing those angles where somebody might be, which is usually where those things are. And quite frankly, let's be honest here, how many times have we swung, saw an alibi, and shot it purely out of panic of like, oh my god, there's someone there. So even though alibi is off the board, her prismas can still cause a lot of havoc for the attackers. Of course, once they're found out and you know where they are, they're not going to be as much trouble as Kando is anyway, sitting here taking out Burnt Turkey. A fantastic shot from this rappel, but this is what we're talking about. Things are taking so long as Kando's going to be able to get another one, but eventually will be traded out. It's a 2v4 30 seconds left though, and Vipoa is going to be able to get one on the aggro. We've talked about it time and time again about attackers taking way too long. Rai sees the legs come through, not able to get the kill, but finally able to get it done onto Ozone. Going to swap over to the pistol, but will be taken out by Cryptic. Vipoa going to be able to get one onto Moses, and it's going to come down to a 1v1. Cryptic still has full health. Vipoa, a little bit worse for wear though, but they have to try to get the case down, but Cryptic, he's going to be able to just rip the head right off of the Valkyrie, faking the plants, getting the round win. Finally, Team MystiC able to get onto the board.
That's still a situation that was a little too close for comfort. You do have 15 seconds left on the clock when you really should be committing to these plants and these executes with at least 30 seconds or more, so that way you have a lot more wiggle room for, you know, those sound tricks, or, you know, those plant kind of baitings. But it's just a tried and true situation that we're seeing here time and time again, is that both these teams like to milk the clock as far as they possibly can. Obviously, Hong Kong Rebels using that more towards their advantage because they were able to get the 2 rounds just based off of time alone. But MystiC just has to bring it back together, and I'm going to stick by my statement in that last round. MystiC needs to remember that this is an objective-based game. You have at least 2 objectives as attackers. That's either plant or kill. If you are not doing one of those 2 things, what are you doing?
5 seconds left.
That question last round, throwing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Attackers are heading
I mean, you answered your own question there earlier, so. But I agree with you. If you're on the attacking side, and we talked about it all game long, or all night long, excuse me, you're not just facing against the 5 defenders that are on that site or roaming around the map. You're also facing off against that 6th member of the defensive team, the clock. And both teams, as you mentioned, have had serious trouble at times dealing with that clock and pushing with enough time left. We are going to see a hatch get opened up here early, but I say early, and we're over 30 seconds in now. I understand, yes, they got to get to the roof, they got to do this and that, but you're still taking so much time to just get to the roof and open up a hatch. I mean, there's just doesn't seem to be any sense of urgency. Team MystiC, as we're a minute in here, and they finally are going to start getting a little ground, but let's not forget, site isn't on 3rd floor. Site's not even on 2nd floor. It's all the way down in kitchen. So they have 2 floors here to clear out, and they've really only got about a minute and a half before they need to start making their last push of an execute. Please, they got to get moving.
They absolutely do. And honestly, like, maybe next time they go into scrims, they should, like, treat the roof like it's on fire. Because maybe they'll start moving a little bit quicker. I don't know if anybody's heard that song, The Roof is on Fire. I mean, I think it might be a great tactic to use, but C4s are going to go ahead and start ringing out. No kills to be confirmed. We do see MystiC kind of scrambling at this point as a full half of the round is gone. Burnt Turkey's ready to see if he can confirm maybe 1, if not 2 members of the side of MystiC, and it does look like he is going to get Ozo. That is your planter. That is your case. It is officially gone. Now Mystic's going to have to scramble in order to pick that up to figure out, are they going to plant, or are they going to just start getting kills? So remember, those are the only 2 things those attackers can do at this point.
Ozone once again having 0 kills through 5 rounds, and it's just not where you want to be. Yes, he's playing on the buck, and he's kind of playing a flex role, so might not be the ultimate goal of that buck player, but at the same point in time, you're playing buck, an operator that, while may not be built for fragging, has definite frag potential. We've seen players go absolutely nuts with buck in the past, and it just kind of seems like a little bit of a waste. Speaking of a waste, aggro, he's going to be wasted. Anybody playing GPA, Moses is going to be able to get one on the Vipoa, but Millie's, he's looking for another one, going to do a ton of damage to Candle. Case is down all the way on the other side. He will get swung by Moses, though, and taken out. Candle has 1 bullet of health, though, as Cryptix is now in sight and pushing through. Finally, MystiC has a little bit of life here, as Cryptix is going to be able to get 2. He will be traded out, though, by Burnt Turkey. And another one coming out from Turkey. He's on a 3K for the round. And well, he did it. He gets a 4K. Why are you solo pushing the last person I'm bamboozled. I am shooketh. I am confused. MystiC is a better team than them. We are just watching them rumble before our eyes.
And let's go ahead and talk about the elephant in the room here. As casters, we don't like picking on a singular team. But when there's something to talk about, we're going to bring it up because you've got to be able to encounter what you're doing wrong and fix it. And if you're not using that intel that you're getting from those mistakes that you're making round to round and fixing it, you're not doing your own self and your own player potential justice. Because that is the most important thing about a tactical shooter, learning. You can be the best gunner there on the board, but if you don't know how to play this game and you don't know how to counter other people, that gun skill means absolutely nothing. Because I'm telling you, you have to play this tactically, whether people want to admit it or not. I hate being the bearer of bad news, but that is what Siege is. It is a tactical shooter.
No, Siege is a point-and-click adventure game, but with that being said, and you do bring up a good point, we're not trying to bully Team MystiC, or any team for that matter, but the issue is when a team is performing poorly, we have to mention that, because let's be real here, the Rebels really aren't doing anything super flashy or fantastic. They're just winning their gunfights. Burnt Turkey was just swinging with a shotgun in his hand while people walked into him. That's not anything flashy. It's not, he's not running around 360 no-scoping people with, an op. Like, it's not stuff that you'd really look at and be like, oh my god, that was so crazy. It's crazy because they allowed it to happen, but Hong Kong Rebels, they're just playing fundamental Siege. That's all they're doing right now. And MystiC, they're just throwing themselves to the wind, almost like they forgot how to play from map number 1.
And doing that on Oregon, that's really honestly unacceptable. It really is, because Oregon, that's your battleground. That's your tried and true. That's your beginning. And if your foundation isn't strong, then it's going to show across most of the maps. But we are hopefully going to see things play out a little bit better here. A full half of the round is gone, and all the players are still so far on the board. I had to make sure I left a little bit of room for doubt there, because we all know what Caster's Curse is like. But we do see finally that first player drop into red, getting into a back and forth with the Azami. Doug dropping through the humidor hatch, making sure that he's not going to die, wants to make sure he gets a little bit ahead of Moses, who is on the, what I like to call the terrorist, think to Barlow, but is also the case holder who's all by himself. This is the problem that we've been talking about all night. You have these players isolated in very bad situations that is causing time to be wasted. We have less than 50 seconds here on the clock, and nothing has happened.
I mean, there's been some damage exchanged, but other than that, like you said, no deaths, no real movement here either, and frankly, MystiC, they're just not able to push forward. They are stalled out, and this has been every single round. Candle, he's going to be the first to fall to Doug, as well as Aggro and Moses as well. He'll hopefully be traded out, but unfortunately, the damage has been done. We're down to 15 seconds left here. Cryptix, he's going to be moving in the site, slowed down by the Banshee. Location will be given away as Burnt Turkey's going to be able to get one, but Rai will finish it off in 5-1. I mean, where is MystiC at right now mentally? Because I gotta tell you, they're not on Cafe. They weren't on Bank. Are they even in the lobby? Are we playing it like, is this T-Hunt? Like, what is happening here to one of the best T3 teams in Siege competitive? They're just nowhere to be found.
Honestly, I almost feel like we're being trolled at this point, because normally this is a team that we've seen step up and really just absolutely go insane. In the qualifiers specifically, this was one of the top teams consistently. And it's just a situation that I want to find a good excuse. I know some teams are like, oh, it's just a bad night, but you can have a bad round. You can have a bad map. But when you're having a bad night in a situation like this, that's just really not acceptable. And, you know, I'm going to kind of hop a little bit off of the, you know, the critique train here by, you know, kind of giving more of a I would say, a vast, like, you know, feedback. One big thing that MystiC, and I'm actually going to say Hong Kong Rebels is kind of at risk for this as well, is the fact that they kind of need to pay a little bit more attention to that clock. We've seen both teams really go down to the wire and put themselves at risk for those time-winning rounds. When these players, if they would just kind of like speed up a little bit more in the beginning, give themselves more time to do and execute, they won't have to worry about getting that worry brain. The moment your brain goes anywhere negativity, your performance and your ability to listen drops drastically. So give yourself more time to get things done, but get into the building quicker. And that goes for both teams.
Also, be a little bit smarter about some of your plays. You see Ozone there tucked inside of that little cubby in the reception area. But if you also look, you saw 3 bodies from the Rebels there as well. Candle, though, he will be taking out Burnt Turkey, but Aggro, he's going to get down and be able to pick himself back up. And again, there's that nice little buff to the Doc where he was able to heal himself, actually overheal himself from picking himself back up. And there we go again, the Bailiff shotgun pistol, the other newest addition to the Doc. So he's been tweaked just a little bit here in this latest patch. As again, we mentioned earlier, so was his GIGN brethren, Moses. He's going to be able to get picked back up as well, back up into full health. And there we see the power of Doc just on full display here as Aggro is playing both the aggressor and the support character. Basically, he's Moira from Overwatch. He's a harm assist.
Yes, and once again, we see the same situation as the previous round. A full half of the round has happened and not too much is going down. Now, we are seeing some kills finally come out here on the board. Moses is going to take down a Vipoa, and then we're going to see some backs and forth. Aggro being the only player down on the side of Team MystiC. A great situation for MystiC to finally be in, having that man advantage against Doug. But remember, just because Doug is alive doesn't mean that Hong Kong Rebels are out until he gets killed. So we do have round number 2 going on the board for MystiC. MystiC does look like they want to come alive here on the defense.
About time, as Lizzo would say. It's about damn time, because they desperately needed that round. I will say that is probably the best round of Siege they've played on this map. Not probably, it is. That was the best round of Siege they played on this map. Multiple members still alive at the end. They were playing around each other. You saw Moses was there with Aggro, as well as Candle and Cryptic. They were all kind of in the same general area. They were able to get refrags when someone went down. And that is the thing that they have been sorely missing throughout the last 2 maps, you know, and if they can pick that up, if they can play with that buddy system, you know, take a battle buddy with you wherever you're going to go, have somebody close by to be able to refrag you, because refrags are what win rounds. If you die, it's not that big of a deal if your teammate is there to trade that out and put things back into an even man count. Would you like to still be alive? Absolutely. Win your gunfight next time, and you will be. But if you lose your gunfight and your teammate is there to win their gunfight, it's not as big as a blow as, oh, you got killed, they got away scot-free, and now you're down in man count.
I mean, you don't want the other team having basically what I like to call the Oprah situation, where you get a kill, you get a kill, you get a kill, kills just ring out all across the board. It's not fun to go up against that, and that's what we saw in early rounds here on Cafe, just bodies flying everywhere. But we do see, it looks like the Valkyrie's already positioned, ready to try to get a cheeky C4, but is droned out. So those early attempts at getting some players off of that red hatch, it may not go well. We also see another C4 pop up through Skylight, but it just doesn't happen. Actually, no, that wasn't a C4. I don't know what was thrown. Maybe that was the Ace charge, but something was definitely thrown.
could have potentially been a black eye to maybe bait them into think it was a nitro cell or something like that, but either way, we'll have to go back and maybe check the VOD later to see what that was. However, the sledge of Millie's has dropped down now onto red stairs, so looking to get aggressive here and kind of get into the action is now MystiC. They're going to have some struggles here as the Hong Kong Rebels are going to start moving in, and there he is, Millie. He's going to take out Moses. It's going to be Jaeger gone. Candle able to get the refrag done. It's exactly what we talked about. The tide has now been returned. What a shot coming out from Candle on the Vipoa. Gonna put things into a 3-4 man advantage for Team MystiC here. MystiC, finally, things are starting to go a little bit their way.
Yeah, and this more than likely feels very, very good for them because they want to make sure that they keep this advantage as long as they possibly can. Candle does get a triple kill. He's finally, as I said it in the beginning, potentially lighting up things on the board. Quad comes out the door. One more kill and onto Burnt Turkey, and that will be an ace. And I guarantee you, more than anything, that will excite and get those mentals back where they need to be. But I think Burnt Turkey might sit here and use this as a tactical timeout, talk to his team and be like, hey, yo, listen, we have 5 rounds, they have 2. We can easily get this next round and go ahead and make it perfect. We can wrap this up a lot sooner. So Burnt Turkey sitting here as we normally see those pseudo tactical timeouts. They just kind of sit there, talk, say what they need to say, and then things eventually just kind of either end by time or somebody just decides to essentially go play team deathmatch.
Well, I think there's also a little bit here. They want to deny the ace, I think, you know, and not literally deny the ace as the ace operator, but I don't think they want to have Candle get that ace in this round and get things tied up here as Cryptix is going to be engaging, and he will actually get the ace. Candle! Wow, you sit on the roof that entire time, and then in the final 3 seconds of the round, you get an ace. Rai has fallen out of the match, and we'll have to wait and see if a rehose is needed. Candle able to pick things up here for his team as MystiC is going to be able to take their 3rd round. It's going to be a bit closer now. Oh, okay, we do not have to have a rehose or anything like that. Rai was able to back, so take care of any technical issues. Although, let's be here, it is Siege, so one will probably pop up at one point or another. But again, Candle, fantastic individual effort there. But also, there's a lot of talk whenever aces come out or big clutch plays or anything like that about, oh, it was individual effort. You know, Candle, he got all 5 kills. Yes, he did, and it does take great skill and aim to be able to pull those things off. But let's not forget about the potential call-outs that are coming from his teammates. You know, the ability to say, hey, this is where they are, on top of Candle's individual skill to be able to get those kills. So yes, great gameplay coming out from Candle, great individual effort, but Siege is a team game. That was a team effort as well. So, you know, show a little bit of love to supports. They may not be, you know, they're not flashy. They don't show up on the top of the league very often. They're the ones doing the dirty work, giving the call outs so that people like Candle can go rip heads off. It's me, I'm support players. Please validate me. Thank you.
Well, I mean, don't forget as well, like, another thing a lot of these teams like to do is they like to support that player in getting the ace because it builds, like, not only confidence moving into the next round, but it kind of boosts team morale because everybody, like, gets excited and they're like, get it, let's go. And that excitement alone can just completely turn around the way that following round is played. So that could also be the potential that we saw there. But the thing is that Burnt Turkey should just sat on that roof. He should have just not moved. You know, we don't mind watching paint dry on the wall every once in a while when it's the, you know, it benefits a team. But one wrong move, you gave some motivation over to Team MystiC, and I really think that that's going to help them here in this round. Now, Ozone playing the Jaeger, trying to play as quiet as he can, not moving around too much, trying to obviously get these quick little shots here and there, hoping somebody runs into his bullets. But it looks like Doug is going to be the one that shoots out Candle. Millis takes down Aggro, so Cryptix, Moses, and Ozone still left here on the board as once again, halfway through the round, no clear execute from Hong Kong Rebels. We're seeing some very repetitive play coming out from both sides.
Truly are. Now, speaking of repetitive play, Sledge He's going to be repeatedly smashing that floor above, going to shoot out the ADS. Luckily, it wasn't the head of Ozone, who was right under that hammer when that floor got opened up above him, or the ceiling, I guess, for him, got opened up above him, and the wood splatterings come falling down. However, it does look like that the Hong Kong Rebels have made a lot of progress here on this middle floor. They were pushing in through wheel and train, so looking for a very heavy push here is Doug, trying to get that flank drone set up, but unfortunately was not able to get it in the right position. Moses is going to be trying to hold down inside of this reading area as well. Does still have the nitro cell. Oh no, does not have the nitro cell, and now he doesn't have a life or a head. As it gets taken out though, Cryptix, he's going to be able to get one on the Millies, as Burn Turkey is going to be able to take out Cryptix, and it's all going to come down to Ozone in the last 40 seconds.
Oh no, Ozone has literally no air to breathe to even get up those stairs as he is taken out, moving us officially into match point for Hong Kong Rebels. Hong Kong Rebels having the ability to shut things down if they so choose. They just have to play their game and play it the right way, as we've seen in the previous map. We saw on Bank, they actually didn't get super aggressive in those last few rounds. They played their game, they played it strong, and they did not let MystiC get ahead. Now, MystiC needs to do the same. They need to slow it down. They need to think about this. Don't make any quick movements. Don't do anything out of tune, because once you start playing in that symphony that is out of tune, things just fall apart. Nobody wants to listen, and it becomes an absolute disaster.
Disaster is a good way to kind of describe how Team MystiC's night has been going, again, outside of that first map. But they have a little bit of new life here. It is match point, yes, but going down into the kitchen area, they did win in round number 7. The site has opened back up. So this is a site that they've won on, and they won it pretty handedly as well, if memory serves correctly. So I think they're going to be okay. I do think that MystiC is good enough to bring it back here. They've shown throughout their time in Siege that they are a good enough team to kind of come back when they need to. Cryptix is going to be chucking out a few of those holograms there just to kind of bait some shots, you know, maybe get a little bit of intel. Threw one too close there to the actual bakery stand there. Don't worry, buddy. We've all been there. We've all thrown our holograms a little bit too close. It's okay. We won't tell anybody.
I was say, what are you even talking about? We didn't see anything. It didn't
What
happen.
hologram?
Yeah, what hologram? But no, officially we're starting to see some movement into this building as Vipo is opening up has this main entrance opened. It wants to start slowly pushing in, but could be met by a grim demise if the coat check player goes to town, which Ozone indeed does go insane and takes down Vipoa. Millis does return the favor by taking off the head of Aggro, so 2 players off the board. Now Ozone coming off the board at the hand of Millis, so that is a double kill and 1 less player in coat check to worry about as far as a push goes. Doug is ready to take on any player that could potentially be plaguing White Stairs, but Candle was ready with a cheeky and beautiful angle held, taking off Doug's head immediately.
It's ready for any player except for Candle, it looks like, as he was able to just take the head right off of him, and he will be hurt a little bit. Cryptix, he's going to be able to swing in, take out Burnt Turkey. Baki's off the board, so no healing for the defenders anymore, but just over halfway through the round here, and man advantage clearly in the hands of, they are up 3-2. They are looking good. They don't have to take peeks if they don't want to, and there we're going to see Candle going to take out Rai, and it's all going to come down to Millies, and they have an opportunity here to take another essential tack pause again, or just try to push in and see what they can get done. Vigil, Candle, he's going to be trying to push up and be aggressive. He's been playing very well over the last couple of rounds and has actually gotten himself up over double digits, as has Cryptix now sitting at 10 kills. They are the only ones in the lobby at 10 kills as MystiC trying to bring things back here for themselves the last 40 seconds.
Oh, poor Millis, having to really go up against just the force that is Candle and Cryptix. Not very honestly. Like it's kind of scary if you really want to go there, having to go up against 2 double-digit players when you're the last one on the team, and then also having to battle time too. But Cryptic's just being in a really great vertical angle, just looking down for the push from the side of Hong Kong Rebels. That just did not go very well, unfortunately. If you have the high ground usually always wins.
Don't try it. Don't try it. If you don't have the high ground, don't try it. Just don't. Have you learned nothing, my young Padawan? Anyway, speaking of learning things, MystiC, they finally learned how to win tiers. They are playing incredibly well, and you kind of mentioned it, you know. It's one thing to have to go up against Candle. It's one thing to have to go up against Cryptics in a clutch situation for your team. When both of them are on the board at the same time. Oh, and by the way, there's also a third member of MystiC's. You know, we talk about Herculean tasks a few times here tonight. That one would have really been trying to push it. So MystiC able to get their 4th round win here, getting ever closer, forcing us to go to that overtime that Battery likes to make me cast so much. So if we do have to go to overtime, Battery, I'm quadrupling my salary for the night, 2 nights in a row. Round 11, though, here we go. We're going to be this middle floor site. They did struggle a little bit last time here, they being Team MystiC, so we have to change some things up here if they want to avoid a loss into OT.
I mean, are you just quadrupling your salary? Can we at least get dinner out of this too? Just saying.
No.
I mean, no, we quadruple salary and dinner? You're gonna turn down dinner?
Listen,
come on.
It is 10:36 here on the East Coast. I am outside of my intermittent fasting range, so you know, maybe if
it had to be tonight.
Maybe if Battery didn't make us cast, you know, into the wee hours of the night, we wouldn't have to deal with this. Speaking of wee hours of the night, if it is dark outside, what are you going to need? A candle. He's going to burn Turkey right up and out of here. He's going to be able to start off the route. That's going to be your ace off the board. The Soul Hard Breach. No can openers for the team as well. So it's going to be a little bit of a struggle here to kind of get through all these reinforcements the Team MystiC has set up, the mute jammers as well. Won't be as big of a deal. They do the pocket EMPs currently on Millies. They will be able to take care of those if needed, but an early disadvantage for the Hong Kong Rebels.
Yeah, with as many castle barricades and everything that we have up, that is a lot of not only like gunpowder that you have to use, but it just honestly, the more utility you can have, the better. But we do have Cryptics officially coming off the board, evening up this man count. The mute has already done his job. The mute jammers are down and doing what they need to be doing. So not too much of a detriment as far as losing the player, but that is still a body and less left click left click ability in order for you to, click off some heads here. But Aggro's gonna start playing a little cheeky here in Christmas. Gonna be camping out by the piano, attempting to see if anybody starts pushing his way, as Candle is also playing the Pixel that we all know so well. Rebels just honestly going down. 2 kills with 1 C4 and an additional headshot coming in. That is psychotic. Team MystiC finally figured out their problems and are bringing the aggression that they've been lacking so much here on Cafe back to the table.
Does seem like they've ironed out whatever issues they've had. Explosions from the impact grenades are going off above the heads of Millies. All going to come down to this Doka Beast. Some Yellow Ping's coming out here. It's a little bit of help from beyond the grave of the teammates, but unfortunately, Ozone is right there to be able to clean it up after the goo mine will be triggered. It is 6-5, so we will be going the full length of regulation. Team MystiC, they'll be trying to push it even further to a potential OT here. If they can get this, we will be going back up to the top floor. Try and get this match figured out here. 3rd floor, bar cocktail, round number 12. Blaze, any predictions here as to what we're gonna see? You have the script. Don't forget, you could leak it to everyone. We are all knowing we are in the Matrix. I am Neo.
I mean, also I could throw out Caster's Curse too. Just saying. But I will say, if we see this round played exactly the way that the last one is played, with more cohesion, more aggression, more thoughtful play, MystiC will take this round, 100%. And it's just because they had the perfect amount of aggression where and when it was needed. So aggro and I want to say it was Cryptics were really playing well off each other on that third floor. We were also seeing really great C4 play, which comes with great communication. So when you're pairing all those things together, you're setting yourself up for a very good round. So that's what MystiC needs to do. They need a repeat of all those situations, just appropriately done for the site.
It's gonna be Fundamental Siege that is going to win this here. Both teams are so close to either ending this entirely or sending us a little bit further into the evening, and both of these teams desperately want to get this round win. Rai, he's going to take a ton of damage, but Ozone is going to take even more as he is removed from the map here in the final round of regulation. Not what you want to be losing. It is the Aruni, so you're not losing like C4s or anything like that, but you are losing Ozone. He hasn't been fragging out, a ton, so the utility is down. It does still kind of sting to be down a man count that early, though. But Rai, again, single bullet, going to be taking them down as well.
I'm already looking at something that I'm seeing Hong Kong Rebels do, and this might be what gets them this round. They're playing a little slow, yes. We don't have full breachful, thoughtful push just yet from Hong Kong Rebels, but we do see them pause. And usually when those players are pausing, there's some type of communication going on there. There's some type of strategy being built. So now that we have some of the players start pushing in, I think they have a thought process that's going to be going on here. But aggro is going to take down Rai, who literally just snapped the head off of Candle. Let's talk about that real quick. But Cryptics is going out for... Actually, no. That's aggro. Aggro, living up to the namesake, runs out, gets a kill. Luckily, ends up having full HP still left on the board when he gets back in the building. So that is just another person coming off from Hong Kong Rebels, operator list, essentially.
You have a Nomad. You cannot allow aggro to get away with that completely unpunished. Again, you have the Nomad. That is just an absolute misplay coming out there from the Hong Kong Rebels, as MystiC has brought this thing back up to a 3-3, now a 2-3. The Cryptics says that he wants to get involved as well, but there's Doug to take out Moses, put us into a 2v2, effectively a 2v1 though, as Vipoa has been downed. The opportunity to pick up his teammate though, Doug does have it. He is in somewhat of a safe position inside of that bathroom there. However, does have to watch for the white stairs, and there it is. It's going to be aggro. That's going to be a 3K for him on the round. Great play coming out for Team MystiC as they send us to OT.
Overtime, and this is where things get fun because we all know how overtime works. You get to swap sides. So you get to really push where and how you play best. Now, there is going to be a little bit of a disadvantage here because we've seen Hong Kong Rebels lose so many attacking rounds. With them starting this overtime on attack, it could... Honestly, they could go around down here. We've seen MystiC really bring it back on the defense. Now, when things swap sides, that's where things are going to get a little bit cheekier. Now, if you want to go off kind of statistically here, we're going to essentially potentially end things on a defensive round for MystiC. If MystiC gets that last round opportunity, statistically, it was going to go in their favor, and they have a very good chance of winning this.
Yeah, but you know what they say, Blaze. Statistics are meant to be broken, and that's exactly what they're going to be trying to do here. Cryptics going to be doing a little bit of remodeling here on this kitchen site. And this wall has been left completely soft. Only 3 seconds left. They will have some time to get it done here. They're going to have to be quick about it. Otherwise, this has been made known by the attackers rushing in, but it doesn't look like it has been. So no harm, no foul, as I believe that was aggro on the alibi, being able to get that wall done. The 3-speed little, I believe she's Libyan, right? She came out with the Italian season and the Italian operator. I believe she's from Colombia. I don't believe she's from Italy. However, doesn't matter. She's at 30 speed, was able to get there and get the job done in time. 30 seconds in, and I have not heard. Okay, there's some gunfire. I was going to say, I haven't heard any gunfire all round, but finally get a little bit of shots ringing out. We're almost a minute into the round already, Blaze, and not really any type of engagement.
No, not really. And I think it might be because Hong Kong wants to play this a little bit more intel heavy. Because if you do look at the operators that they're bringing to the board, the IQ, being able to figure out where these potential pre-placed C4s might be, if any are pre-placed, which it does look like the 2 that are on the board are in pocket, but it does help them get things like new jammers off the board, black eye cameras, denying as much intel from Team MystiC as they possibly can, because they want to put this advantage in their favor versus MystiC's. So what MystiC needs to do is they need to make sure that they're potentially taking down this IQ early, so that way they can retain some of that intel gathering ability that they have here on the defense.
They're going to have to do something here. We've got a minute and a half left, and it's halfway through the round now. The attackers of the Hong Kong Rebels, hate to harken back to it, but they talked about time management. Oh, a little bit of a run out here. Oh, finally, Rai. Oh, I don't know if they were on a drone or what happened there, but they're going to be able to get one. As well as Vipoa going to be able to pick one up onto Cryptix. Ozone has been downed as well. This is a 5v2 as Aggro is going to be able to take out Millies and put things in 4v2. They will have to try to pick up Ozone, and it does look like they are going to be able to get it done here. So going to put things a little bit back into favor, but Doc on the board this time. And well, there goes Ozone for good this time. Now we're going to see Aggro get dropped out as well. And it's all going to have to come down to Moses, the Valkyrie, and they get it done.
Oh, no. Unfortunately, does not happen in the situation we would have hoped for. MystiC just making some very careless mistakes here, allowing those early picks and that early aggression go in the favor of Hong Kong Rebels. This is officially overtime match point. If we don't see a more aggressive attack come out of MystiC, there's really no hope at this point, because we saw so many rounds go down in the beginning when MystiC was attacking because they just weren't playing cohesively. The big lesson to be learned here is when you have a player on site, you have a player that can call site as clear, you redirect whatever you're doing and you change your game plan. You go to site. You help support that player get the plant down. You play the objective. If you manage to kill some people on the way, cool. But that is the lesson that needs to be learned here tonight on the attack by MystiC.
There's a lot to be learned from both teams here. I do believe that MystiC has performed a much better on this map. And honestly, if you take away map number 2, MystiC has looked pretty good all night long. It's just this glaring and how bad it was on map number 2 that's really kind of sticking out. And their very, very slow start, Faye as well. You know, they were down 6-0 on their own map of Bank, and then they were down 5-1 on the decider map of Cafe. It's just not looking good in those early splits, and you know, we kind of talk about it, but the Hong Kong Rebels have allowed them to come back, at least on this map. So definitely some education that needs to be done on their side as well. You know, being able to hold on to that lead, being able to finish out games when you have the chance to. Because the Rebels have had chances to end this in regulation several times. We're just not capitalizing on it.
Yeah, I know, specifically for MystiC, many of you know who Yali is. Yali actually was the coach of MystiC before she got picked up with Fisher University. Yali actually used to sit down with these players and talk about things like drone pathing, about situations that went wrong, what could have been done differently. That needs to continue with MystiC, but poor Turkey, just getting killed behind the cupcake counter. I mean, at least if you're gonna go down in style and go down with the cupcakes, I guess you can say.
Well, if he hadn't been eating all those cupcakes, he might have been able to get away from the grenade that was flying in and landed right beside him. Speaking of things that are flying by, bullets flying from Candle's gun towards the head of a defender, but not able to connect. It doesn't do a single bit of damage. it was Vipoa there, and yep, it was Vipoa. The long-range DMR in hand, gonna shut Candle down for the time being, and that's gonna be a huge blow here to MystiC. That is their second best fragger off the here. So do have Cryptics and of course Aggro as well. Moses has also stepped it up here in the coming rounds. So definitely still some gunners on the side of MystiC, but it hurts to lose someone like Candle.
Yeah, Candle, that formidable force, but remember, we still have Cryptics here on the board. Cryptics, that tag team killer who has double digits to match Candle. There's a good potential here for him to pick up the slack, but we're going to have to make sure that that slack is picked up. Ozone picking up a little bit of slack and taking down Vipoa. They're slowly starting to finally take some of the ground in Bakery, but they have to start pushing this a lot harder. Now, Aggro does go down, leaving only 3 players left for MystiC. Actually make that 2, which is a even matchup between both of these teams now. But remember, time is on the side of Hong Kong Rebels. We've seen Hong Kong Rebels take up to 3 rounds based on time alone. They also have control over... Actually, no, Cryptics just managed to pick up the diffuser. Actually was looking at that wrong. But Moses has a great situation here. He could jump over this counter, start going ahead and committing to this plant, which Cryptics is going to do what he needs to do. Moses needs to protect his teammate. He almost doesn't. We do have, unfortunately, a situation where Millis is just waiting for the perfect swing here. He's waiting for the beautiful smoke canister to dissipate and just possibly take off the head of Cryptics. But where is Millis? Millis doesn't get the job done, but Rai's gonna have to. He comes in, gets the diffuser taken care of, and officially we see Hong Kong Rebels take the night 2 maps to 1. Great job on the side of Hong Kong Rebels for sticking to it and doing the job and doing it well.
Hong Kong Rebels simply just outplayed Team MystiC in the final last rounds there. It was very close back and forth, and quite honestly, either one of those teams could have taken it there towards the end. Hong Kong Rebels, though, managed to pull it out in the end. GG's to them and our commiserations to Team MystiC. However, they're not out of it yet. These are still the group stages. They still have plenty of opportunities to move on into the playoffs later this season. But it does help the HK Rebels to be able to pick up a round win against what a lot of people probably had as being one of the best teams, not only in the group, but in the entire league this season.
Yeah, and honestly, like a team that's been together for that long, you do expect a little bit more out of them. But in order to improve as a team, you have to fall as one. So tonight will be a great learning lesson for MystiC. But we've got to talk about just, a little bit of the future of Xenon here. We do have one match that's going to be tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on the Xenon Twitch channel. So I will be excited to tune in and see the action happen and unfold tomorrow night. I know Crisis, I don't think either one of you you or I will actually be on the desk. I might be, though. Maybe. We'll have to see.
Well, I've casted 2 nights in a row, so, I deserve a little bit of a break. Batteries got me working incredibly hard here behind the scenes, making me cast best of 3s and overtimes and all kinds of crazy things. So I'm going to have to rest my voice a little bit over the weekend. But yes, there will be a game tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern. We want to thank you all for sticking with us here throughout the night and watching. We would also like to send out another thank you to Campfire Esports for sponsoring this season 4 of the Xenon Gaming series. So we wish you a fantastic rest of your morning, noon, or night, wherever you are. Good luck, have fun, and we'll see you in the next one.
Can't stop falling for you.